Hey, it's me. I'm going to wait a couple of minutes and let some people get in here. And while we wait, we can listen to a song or two. Let's see here.
They walk in with their stories loud, trying to pull me through their crowd. But I build walls they can't unbind. My strength is sharp, it's well defined. Voices rising like a storm. But I've been here, I've been reborn. I stand my ground, I hold my line. Their shadows fade while I still shine. They can't break me, they can't drown. I stand my ground. I stand my ground. They toss their words like broken glass, hoping my heart is made of brass. But I've got scars that spell my name, each one a torch, each one a flame. Let them roar, let them scream. I've got fire, I've got dreams. Stone by stone, I've built my throne. This is my world, I'm not alone. I stand my ground, I hold my line. Their shadows fade while I still shine. They can't break me, they can't drown. I stand my ground. I stand my ground. I stand my ground. I stand my ground.
Hey, y'all. Welcome in, welcome in. I know a couple of people are out shopping. I know a couple of people are doing things. Um, so today we're going to talk about Noel Wells' case. See, this is what scares me about my child or my children growing up. And I know a lot of you guys have children, so a lot of you guys can understand where I come from. Like, I have, well, four mods who have sons. So Noah Wells's case is scary for us. I mean, this has been totally crazy because at the beginning, I was believing what people were saying, that there was nothing to see there, right? I don't know why that may just made that noise. Interesting. Let's see here. Whatever I find from Brian Itton is up to date, or I think it is. This was done a day ago. So we'll start with Brian Itton. Let me give him a pause. Pause. Grr. Yes, I am yelling at the laptop, people. Let's go ahead and give him the thumbs up. Copy the link so that way I can share it whenever I get back over here. Hello, welcome in. I need to know age because if you're a child, I would prefer you to go ahead and leave at this point in time. And if you're my child, you know better than being in here. Okay, I'm done with all my. Once again, big warning, big trigger warning, because this case has been a trigger warning kind of for me from the start. We'll listen to what Brian has to say, and then we'll go and look for more info. And if you aren't subbed up Brian Enton, please go do so.
Everybody for supporting my channel. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed. The mystery has really deepened into what happened to 18-year-old Nolen Wells. Disturbing case, sad case. In this episode, I'm going to have the latest on the investigation. Also, what authorities are doing right now with Wells's cell phone, which is really, really significant.
Just a second, guys.
The family.
I don't know what I'm streaming this from. I don't know which. Okay, it shouldn't be having that problem. Wonder if I do it from my phone, it will help. Oh, it needs to even switched. Okay, give me a second, y'all. I am so sorry.
The attorneys, the district attorney, just had a meeting and gave an update after that meeting on some really significant parts of the investigation, which I'll get to in this episode. He was last seen on the remote Horn Island in Mississippi. That was back on July 4th. His friends say they took a boat home without Wells. That was around 3 p.m. after some of the friends said that Wells said that he would find another ride
I don't know what to do.
back to shore. And that is something that his family has really said since the beginning that they are suspicious of, that he wouldn't.
I don't
they
know
don't
why
believe
it's giving me problems.
wanted to stay
Really, I don't.
behind without his friends. Nolen's body was later found tragically. It was 2 days later that they discovered the body. Southwest Mississippi Community College football team. You just hear amazing things about this kid, pretty much from everyone who knew him. And by the way, his family has made clear that he was a good swimmer, which sort of adds to the mystery of this entire thing. Police, up until this point, have said that there's no indication of foul play, but the family attorney, Ben Crump, said that Nolen's cell phone is going to undergo what they're calling a mutual inspection. A mutual inspection of the cell phone by investigators, and also so when I say investigators, the official investigators, like the sheriff's office, FBI, but also the family's independent experts are also going to go through the cell phone, according to Ben Crump. The phone, by the way, from what we can tell, from what the friends are saying, was later found on the boat, not with Wells, which is another component to this that the family finds suspicious. This is what Ben Crump said after he and the family met with the district attorney.
There will be a grand jury that she will turn this case over to once they have collected all the information and finished their investigation. We also agreed that we will have a mutual inspection of the cell phone with our experts and their experts. Attorney Eric Hertz is helping lead the investigation team with former law enforcement experts who are going to help us with the cell phone download.
So there is GPS data from the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources that has tracked the movement of the boat that Nolen Wells was on when he went to Horn Island. Again, this was on July 4th. CBS News actually obtained that data. They are reporting that the vessel left a dock at about 9:56 a.m., arrived at Horn Island at roughly 11:14 a.m., and CBS News reports that Wells was not on the boat when it departed the island to go back. The boat left Horn Island at 4:31 p.m., returned back to the original departure dock where it left from in the morning. According to CBS, they report that the boat's owner, his mother, and another person who was on the boat with Wells when they first went to the island, that they have all been cooperating with the investigation. In terms of cause of death, autopsy, as I said, no official cause of death has been released at this point. There is a private autopsy that is happening in Washington, D.C. By the way, it's being paid for by former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick, which is interesting. There's a lot of celebrities getting involved in this whole effort. Tyler Perry is helping to cover the funeral expenses for Nolen. All these people just saying that they want answers, they want transparency. The family's other attorney, a man named Eric Hurst, says that there are still so many questions that he says have not been answered.
Right now there's a lot of unanswered questions. We appreciate the district attorney meeting with us, but because of certain types of confidentiality that even the victims are not allowed to know, we did not get all the answers we want. We have an independent investigation going on that involves former law enforcement federal agents that are going to be looking into all the different information we got. The calls are coming in and we're getting a lot of information. Some of the people that I spoke to are not talking with law enforcement here. We're going to be trying to get them to cooperate with each other because we want to make sure the narrative, which has been put out that is false, is going to be corrected.
In terms of the false narrative, there were some follow-up questions when he said that, and they did not elaborate on exactly what they meant there. But the legal team says they are getting dozens and dozens of tips coming in every day from people who are on the island.
We are getting dozens of people calling every day saying, I was on Horn Island. This is what I saw. I know these individuals. This is what we know. They said, we understand the sheriff's investigation has hundreds of people calling too. And so the hope is that when this is presented to the grand jury, all relevant witnesses and evidence will be presented to them so that we can have a fair and impartial investigation into the death of Nolen Wells.
So several of Nolen Wells' friends have spoken out. Trayston Shepard is one of them. He was with Wells during the trip to Horn Island. He's spoken to a couple of different places. He told ABC News, quote, "We did no wrong here. We did no wrong here, and we don't understand how we're getting so much hate behind us." He said, "We all cared and loved Nolen, and nobody wanted to see Nolen die. Nobody wanted to see his life be taken so short." Shepard says that Wells met a young woman on the island that was earlier in the day and chose to stay behind while the rest of the group headed back to the mainland by boat. He said the two had only just met. It was the first time that they were spending time together, and sort of alluded to the fact that that's why he didn't return back to the mainland. Wells' parents, by the way, have questioned that and just don't believe that he would have stayed on the island without his friends. They've said that over and over again. So for more information on the investigation, what may be happening behind the scenes, I want to share with you guys my conversation with retired FBI agent Kieran Ramsey. Kieran, it's nice to see you. Thank you very much for joining me. I've been looking into this Nolen Wells story all day, really. It's a really sad story. I mean, it seemed like this kid just had such a bright future, and everybody seemed to have amazing things to say about him. I wanted to ask you first, Ben Crump, the family attorney, said that there's going to be sort of this dual investigation with the phone, that they're going to have the, officials looking into it, the police, but then also they have experts that the family's hiring that's going to be looking at the phone, I guess, at the same time. Have you ever heard of this happening this way?
Look, it's an unusual track to see happening in real time like this. It's certainly not common. I think it speaks to why there is a need for law enforcement to immediately seize digital devices, image those, and start that examination immediately.
Hey guys, I've been on the road so much lately. I've been distracted by so many stories, and there are certain things I just don't have the time to deal with, and identity theft is definitely one of those things. It's the worst. It happened to my dad. It took forever for him to sort it out. Also have a new custom removal feature on the unlimited and unlimited family plans.
Admittedly, in the public space, is already facing some intense scrutiny. So again, it's unusual. It's not the typical standard process that you would see. But in the end, as long as law enforcement is able to do what they need to do for evidentiary purposes, that they can establish that chain of custody and be able to detail any forensic examination so that if it's ever needed to be presented in court, there won't be any question as to the integrity of the information or the data that is able to be extracted from it.
It seems the mom or the parents had the phone. Is that unusual to you? Because I guess with most of the cases I've covered, the phone will go into like the police evidence.
Look, I'll put it this way. These were clearly desperate parents just trying to find their son. I can't put it past them in that regard. I'm a dad of two teenage boys. Even though I'm former FBI, I can't blame them for that. But admittedly, a forensic image should have been taken of that phone first by law enforcement immediately. However, given the circumstances by which they had to go find the phone themselves, again, it's hard for me to take major umbrage with it, given that they're desperate parents and they had to go find the phone themselves. But ideally, in normal cases, yeah, you want law enforcement to seize that phone first, start a chain of custody, image that phone so that the integrity of the evidence that's found is unquestionable.
When law enforcement gets a phone in a situation like this, and we don't know if it's an iPhone, but what do they do? What kind of information can they pull off of it?
So I think I've seen a lot of reports that the Snapchat account was deleted, which would have been unusual for this young man. Look, deleted is never deleted. And for law enforcement, and particularly now with the FBI's involvement and their digital forensics capabilities, and admittedly, I don't know what Jackson County's digital forensics capabilities are. I do know what the FBI's are. So that aspect of being deleted is never really truly deleted. So you have several layers of recoverable data that exists. So you have data on the Snapchat servers, so servers data from the servers. You have metadata. And both of those can be gained from preservation letters and subpoenas. On top of that, you have geolocation data from both the handsets and maps according to the Snapchat account. Again, if you know how Snapchat works, and unfortunately, my kids use Snapchat too. So you have that map aspect of it. Then again, another big piece, and I've seen it reported a lot, is the Life 360 data for that handset. So there's going to be that information. So when we think about the amount of information that they can gain from this phone, it's tremendous. But I'll emphasize this. While that phone is the centerpiece of the digital, let's call it the digital footprint of what investigators are going to be looking for, it doesn't end with just that handset. I believe we've already seen the Jackson County authorities come out and try to crowdsource information and say, look, if you were on, I believe it's Horn Island that day, We want any phones or any photos, any video, nothing edited. We want to make sure we know who was there. So if you were there, please let us know so that they can do all that, because then you have cell tower dumps as well. So for the geolocation data for the cell towers themselves. And every single device, as well as every single person that was on that island that day, then becomes a potential witness or a potential evidentiary lead.
How did the other people with cell phones, could they help determine his location and through the towers? Is that what you're saying?
No, so the towers are going to put who was ever on that island at that time, the
Okay.
geolocation data for any of the handsets that were on that. And then yes, you are going to have time and space proximity of certain handsets. So by way of example, if you and I are on the island and you go off, yet I tell the authorities, no, you and I were there together the entire time, but the cell tower dumps show that nope, your handset was gone. It left. Okay, then that opens up a line of inquiry, right? Really an investigative lead. I think they're going to be looking at a lot of that given the circumstances as described, because you have a timeline that has a lot of contradictions, right? You have this group of friends that's there with him saying they departed, that he was going to stay behind to, I believe, talk with some girl. The girl then comes out and says, no, we talked, but then he was leaving to go catch up with his friends. Then somebody else shifts the timeline as to when those friends left. And then we have the handset itself. The Life 360 data shows that the handset's back apparently on the mainland.
That's right.
From what I saw in open source reporting, while they're claiming, no, he's still on the island. So again, there's a lot of inconsistencies. Each one of those, that timeline doesn't close. It actually breaks up contradictions, and each one leads to an investigative pursuit that can be followed.
Can they, with Snapchat, and you mentioned your kids have it, they don't, the snaps don't stick around forever. Does the FBI have a way to go back and get old Snapchats?
So there's Snapchat server-side data that they can go back. They can serve preservation letters on Snapchat. They can follow it up with grand jury subpoenas if need be.
Hold up, guys. I just found something from ABC 7 News. We're going to listen to it really, really quick.
From the very spot where the body of Nolen Wells was brought after it was recovered from the water. And his death, his mysterious death, has truly devastated this community. We're hearing now for the first time, Robin, from an eyewitness, a friend of Wells who was with him on that fateful July 4th boat trip.
I just know I've lost my best friend.
This morning, a friend of Nolen Wells, who was with the 18-year-old the day he was last seen alive, is sharing what he says happened during a July 4th boat trip to an isolated barrier island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Tristan Shepard declined to speak with us on camera because he says he and his friends are getting threats.
We did no wrong here, and we don't understand how we're getting so much hate behind it. We all cared and loved Nolen, and nobody wanted to see Nolen die. Nobody wanted to see his life be taken so short.
Shepard addressed this viral video that investigators have been studying. Wells' parents worried it showed their son involved in a confrontation, but Shepard said that's him, not Wells.
That's the video I'm referring to. That's me yelling.
Shepard says he took a boat back from Horn Island in the late afternoon, but Wells stayed behind with a girl he had met.
They met that day, and it was kind of one of those things. It did come off that day that he really did like her, but that was the only time they'd ever hung out was at Horn Island on July 4th.
Investigators believe from the very spot where the body of Nolen Wells was brought after it was recovered from the water. And his death, his mysterious death, has truly devastated this community. We're hearing now for the first time, Robin, from an eyewitness, a friend of Wells who was with him on that fateful July 4th boat trip.
I just know I've lost my best friend.
I'm not familiar directly with their protocol and their policies for data retention, but no doubt the FBI's already issued out probably tons of preservation letters so that whatever is on server side data they can get from Snapchat or other accounts that are interacting with Snapchat on the device that can overlap. So there is still a lot of potential for that.
Does it stand out to you as odd that his phone was back on boat without him? Because in one way, I'm thinking like, what teenager leaves their phone? That's kind of unusual. But then some of the friends said, "Oh, everybody leaves the phone in the boat because you don't want it to get wet." Which I've been on boats, and that also seems like it could be true.
I can speculate all day long as to what kids are doing with their phones and the boat thing. I don't know. But what we do know is there's some contradictory statements as to that timeline and then the phone itself. The fact that the parents had to go get the phone, it wasn't given up willingly, as to what I've seen in open source reporting. That's a little troubling that it was not immediately given up willingly. So you have that aspect. You also have the fact that, again, according to the parents, and admittedly they have their own
Hello, sis. How are you?
blinders on about what he did or did not usually do with his phone. But their claim was that he was very active on Snapchat and it was apparently wiped for that entire day. So I would say those data points are actually possible indications of evidence spoliation, which is, again, trying to get rid of evidence, but we don't know. I mean, I think it's still too early. And all of that data has to be overlaid with interviews of anybody that was with him that day or supposed to be with him or in close proximity to him.
How does it work with the FBI involved now? And are you surprised the FBI is involved? What kind of work do you think they're doing on the case?
Not surprised that the FBI is involved, given there's federal land jurisdiction, right? The Barrier Island is part of the Gulf Shores National Seashore, I believe. The body was found by a National Park Service ranger. My brother's a former National Park Service law enforcement ranger, and he worked in that area years ago. So very familiar with the jurisdiction from a land perspective. It doesn't mean it's not concurrent jurisdiction. So the FBI and the county will typically work together. But then on top of that, what brings the FBI in is no doubt the digital forensics. And whether it was a specific request by the Jackson County authorities or it was just an immediate agreement, hey, deceased body found on federal land, you already had an open missing persons, let's work this together. From what I've seen in the open source, it still indicates that Jackson County is in the lead. But it doesn't matter. They're working in concert. They're quite used to working together. I know personally the agencies down there are very used to working collaboratively on federal jurisdiction cases or cases where you have some kind of suspicious circumstances surrounding a missing person.
Because the FBI is involved, should we assume that there may be something suspicious?
No, we're way too early in that because we haven't had a direct statement that there's a civil rights investigation or a federal homicide investigation because of the land's jurisdiction. There's still a lot of things that need to come back. Cause and manner of death, toxicology, the interview process, the digital evidence, if there's anything that immediate comes to there. So I don't think we should necessarily take away from the fact that the FBI is involved, that it means, yes, a crime has been committed. But hopefully, and this is where I feel dearly for these parents, hopefully they take some solace to know that the FBI is going to bring everything they have to this investigation in hopes of determining what happened to their son.
When you mentioned in the beginning, I mean, and I've done stories before with parents who, you just don't want to believe that it was an accident, if that's what this turns out to be. Is that a challenge for law enforcement? Because sometimes, and again, not with this case, with the other ones I've covered, no matter what the facts show, you have parents who are just not going to believe that it was a drowning or that, it was something else. But you can
without a doubt.
understand too, like you mentioned, you have kids. I mean, you get it. Like,
Well, I
especially a
do.
kid like
And
this who is such a star, you know?
look, this kid had everything in the world going for him. 18-year-old multi-sport college athletes. It's summertime next week. He was supposed to go on to his athletic training program and everything. But look, the emotion is what is often lost for these parents. And if you're a parent, I'm sure you can relate. If you're not, put yourself in those shoes that you want to know the truth. You want to know what happened. But, when your heart is ripped out of your chest, it's kind of hard to be objective in believing everything, especially where we've had already, very unfortunately, and I'm not going to place blame here, but unfortunately, we already had a sequencing error by the authorities where they came out right away and say, nope, no foul play involved. Look, you can't do that. Now you've just caused yourself all of this scrutiny because you made that call before anything else was done. So given that question that's going to hang over there, that's where I certainly hope the FBI's involvement, perhaps whatever private capabilities the family's attorney brings in, hopefully that gives them reassurance that whatever investigation is being done from this point forward is full, is complete, is transparent, and gives them the answers they truly, truly deserve as parents.
Why do you think the authorities did that? I mean, to so quickly say, why not just say it's an open investigation where we don't know either way?
I couldn't speculate as to the why. All I can say, it was a premature declaration, clearly. And, you certainly never characterize cause and manner of death, but before an autopsy, before toxicology. I mean, that's just standard law enforcement 101. Whatever the reason behind that misstep, I'm sure will come out later with some kind of internal examination. I mean, this case already is getting a ton of scrutiny. So I couldn't speculate as to the why other than to say, look, it was a premature declaration that I'm sure that department regrets now making.
How important are witnesses? And, I'm just thinking kids this age, some of them may be reluctant to come forward, even if it wasn't necessarily a crime, but just something they saw. You get nervous to get involved. There's race involved now. You think it'll be difficult to get some of these kids to talk?
I really hope not. Some of these kids were his friends. If they were truly his friends, they're going to cooperate to the nth degree. For any kids that were out there, this is something where both for those kids and their parents, they need to realize, look, this was an 18-year-old kid that had everything going for him. Put yourself in their shoes. If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to hide. Just cooperate. Who cares that you were 18 years old and drinking on this island and playing with your boats and your jet skis? No one cares about that. That's not what this is about. So law enforcement is going to have to really emphasize that aspect. It sounds like this is a community that does care about this case. So we'll see that care and concern translate into cooperation. And I took it as a good sign that so quickly the sheriff's offices and the authorities pivoted to crowdsource this and say, hey, look, if you were out there, send us whatever you got. We need to account for what happened here.
Have you worked any cases like this where, I mean, if you're dealing with teenagers and the FBI shows up and starts wanting to talk, there's like an intimidation factor? I mean, how do you deal with that?
It's automatic. The FBI brings a certain gravitas to any investigation that it's doing, but that's where communication is key. And it's communication by team law enforcement, not just the FBI, not just Jackson County, not just the family's attorney, not just the district attorney or the U.S. Attorney's Office. It's really team law enforcement has to be clear about, here's where we are, here's what we still need from the public. If you were there, and making sure that people understand, what is this about? This is about an 18-year-old boy that's not going to be able to fulfill what his life's promises were supposed to be.
There's some new audio that's out, and this just came out in the last couple of hours. I don't know if you heard it, but it's like from the radio, and it sounds like these kids called in that the boat was malfunctioning or taking on water. They needed towing assistance. And it seems like this is the boat back to shore when he's not on the boat. From an investigative perspective, does that mean anything to you?
It does. It adds to the timeline, right? If that audio can be verified, so there's other reports, right? I've seen other reporting about an argument being captured on the shoreline and something else. Like whatever audio clips that are preserved, and including radio traffic or communication with some outside party that's not there, if they can verify that, that adds to that timeline where they can start to fill in gaps as to who is where when in relation to where is our victim and what's happening there. So I think that if it, again, if it can be verified, I think that'll be helpful to the timeline, no doubt.
And just back to the witnesses, if they saw something and they are not forthcoming, is that a crime?
It can be. You can face repercussions, legal repercussions, for not providing information, for obstructing the investigation in some way. Again, just the fact that that phone was not voluntarily provided to authorities and the parents, there's some legal risk there, admittedly. Now, hopefully, that doesn't dissuade people from telling the truth. There's an explanation. If there is an explanation, a logical explanation, it needs to be given. Very simple like that. Same thing with the rest of this milieu of kids in that area on that day at that time.
Yeah. The other thing, just going back to the parents, is when they say, our son wouldn't have stayed behind without his friends. And sometimes when I've interviewed parents for stories, they do have a good sense of what their kid would do. You know what I mean? It's like you kind of do have to take that into account, it seems.
So I have mixed feelings about that. I'll be very candid. As a dad and as an FBI agent, and they're contrasting. They don't necessarily match. As an FBI agent, no, I trust but verify, right? As the old adage goes, I actually investigate and verify. As a dad, I'd like to think I know for sure what my kids are doing. Look, unfortunately, I find out sometimes, no, they're not doing what I would expect of them. And that's that difference. Whereas parents, we expect them to do X or Y or Z. And oftentimes kids don't meet our expectations. I struggle with that as a parent. All parents struggle with that. Nevertheless, from an FBI perspective, I'm still going to want to not just take the parent's word for it. I'm going to go investigate. There are witnesses. There is a timeline here. There is digital evidence, a digital footprint. There's a lot of things that we can take and put together to see. And it's not to prove them right or wrong. It's to find out what happened.
Mm. And he, by the way, I was just remembering, he's a strong swimmer, according to his family, which stood out to me.
Again, another interesting data point. And we'll see what the cause and manner of death is upon autopsy and toxicology reports. Look, I grew up a swimmer. I was a lifeguard. My boys are lifeguards. That doesn't mean if you get caught in a riptide and get pulled out and you struggle and it doesn't work out and the tide shoots you back in. Can that happen? Sure, it can. But these are all this is all supposition, speculation. We need to get those autopsy results back. We need to see the toxicology reports, or at least the family, the investigators do, and then they can really make some hard conclusions.
Yeah, and it's hard to just look at social media and kind of judge a case like this, because even today, at the press conference, they admitted that one of the photos that even the lawyer reposted wasn't entirely accurate, and there was this photo from a pool party that went viral that wasn't even from that day. So it's I guess it's easy to jump to conclusions, when you're just looking at like Twitter or whatever, but some of these things aren't even relevant, it seems.
Well, again, this is where that investigate and verify comes into play. I mean, I wouldn't, social media can have evidence and it can have important information that helps investigators, but it can't be the end all be all. You've got to be able to verify that, corroborate it as in fact evidence of time, location, or whatever else that we're looking at. I would tell you the worst thing to do sometimes is certainly look at comments on social media about things, because everybody that's looking at that on top of that is now this armchair quarterback or couch detective at home looking at this. Oh, no, look at this and look at that.
Yeah.
And and both team law enforcement, I'm no doubt is trying to maintain the integrity of the investigation by not getting ahead of things, by relying on social media postings here or there or anywhere. Look, the family needs to do that as well. They can ask hard questions. They should ask hard questions. They deserve to be able to ask hard questions, but they can't just take random photos that are put out there by whomever and say, "Oh no, this proves it." No, let's make sure that investigators are really able to drill down and find that evidence that corroborates exactly what happened here.
And just lastly, it seems like the thing that's standing out to you the most is the cell phone and I guess the parents or law enforcement not getting it immediately. It seems like to you that just from what we know on the outside seems to be the most sort of, it seems like the thing you're zeroing in on the most.
Look, it's not the thing, but it is a thing, and it's a big thing. We have a couple of focal points, or team law enforcement has a couple of focal points that they're doing right now, right? The autopsy for this young man and the toxicology report. You have a timeline, which is based on an entire ecosystem of things. And then you have the digital footprint of his device. But as I said, that it doesn't end with just his device. It's any devices that were in that ecosystem throughout that day, time, space, distance, according with the victim's phone. But it's not the only thing, but it is a thing. The fact that the family had to go find his phone and get it, and it didn't have everything they thought it should. It had indications of it had been tampered. We don't know if that's actually the case yet, but it's certainly a thing that should cause concern, and it's something that law enforcement's going to have to fully drill down on.
We'll see how it all sort of plays out. And again, it's just so sad for the family. I appreciate your time, Kieran. Thank you very much.
My pleasure to be with you today.
Really appreciate Mr. Ramsey for taking the time to talk with me. Obviously, it is just a tragic, tragic story, and hopefully we'll get answers.
But here we are. There's a lot of people that believe that it's obvious what actually happened here. Before we get into today's video, I just want to let you guys know that this video is for educational purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody everywhere, in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. I hope you all have had a wonderful week so far. I hope everybody is feeling good. So you guys, in today's video, this is a very highly requested video. You guys have been emailing me, DMing me all over the place to talk about this. And I've been following this case. And this is another one of those cases that unfortunately leaves a lot of people with more questions than answers.
My nose is out here, my eyes are here, my brain is here, which means some things I could smell before I could see and before I can figure out. This does not smell right.
And in this situation, you have family members and friends that are desperately seeking for answers. For those of y'all that don't know, Nolen Wells spent the 4th of July with his friends on what he thought was going to be the absolute funnest trip to an island for 4th of July with all of his friends. He's a high school student. I mean, they're going out on the boat, a blast, right? Sadly, the day took a devastating turn of events, and now his family and the people that love him are doing everything they can to figure out what exactly happened to him. And some new information has come out, even just since I've been researching all of this, that y'all may not have heard just yet, and we're going to talk about all of it today. Before we go any further, I did want to stop and thank today's sponsor, Quince. One thing I've really been trying to do lately is buy less, but buy better. I used to end up with like a closet full of things that I did not really love. And if I do not love it, I will not wear it. And now I would much rather invest in more high quality items, like a few high quality pieces that I know I'm actually going to use and enjoy. That's one of the reasons why I have been loving Quince. Quince offers like elevated essentials for every part of life, from clothing to home goods and even cookware. They focus on premium materials, timeless designs, and really impressive quality without the luxury markup. And what I love is that Quince works directly with ethical factories and completely cuts out the middleman. So you are paying for the product itself and not some huge brand name attached to it. Everything feels thoughtful, made and designed to last. And personally, my favorite thing about Quince is that the pieces are simple, they're classic, and they're easy to use every day. These are the kinds of items that I find myself reaching for over and over again. And another great thing is that Quince is typically priced 50 to 80% less than similar luxury brands. So you can get that premium feel without the premium price tag. If you're looking to upgrade your summer essentials with quality that lasts, head on over to quince.com/Christina Randall for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. And Quince is available in Canada now too. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/Christina Randall for free shipping and 365-day returns. Thanks again, Quince. Now, before we get into everything, I need to remind y'all, I am not a professional. Everything in this video is alleged. I do not know any of these people. I pull all of my information from very public sources and news sources that is already out there, filter it through my own words and opinions. So please go do your own research and form your own opinions. Just don't show hate to anybody anywhere. So let's just start off by me telling y'all a bit about Nolen. So Nolen Wells is an 18-year-old from Ocean Springs, Mississippi. His parents are Christine and Elmore Wansley. Now, Nolen graduated from Ocean Springs High School just recently, where he was a football player and loved playing sports. He recently enrolled at Southwest Mississippi Community College, and he was actually getting ready to start his freshman football season there, where he is a wide receiver. And how exciting for him, playing football all these years during his youth and then going on to college and getting ready to play. Friends and family describe Nolen as very well liked, respectful, athletic, kind, easygoing. Even his high school football coach said that he was one of his best students. He got along with everybody. He had a great group of friends. People that knew him said that he could absolutely light up a room, and he was a great role model for those around him. His family says that he dreamed of playing Division I football one day. However, sadly, something completely unexpected happened. On July 4th of this year, 2026, Nolen went out with several of his friends on a boat to a place called Horn Island, which is actually this barrier island off of the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And according to some of Nolen's friends that were there with him that day, at around sometime between, there's a lot of different theories on this, but stick with me here, okay? Sometime between 3 and 4:30, Nolen's friends decided that they were ready to leave the island. So they're like, okay, we're gonna go. And Nolen was like, I'm not ready to go yet. Allegedly, he decided he was gonna stay back on the island, and he supposedly told his friends that he was gonna end up getting a ride on a boat with someone else later. So Nolen's group of friends left. Now, I need y'all to remember that, because there are so many rumors and theories from that aspect right there. And some new information has come out. Just
wait a minute. Did I just hear them say there's been new information leaked? And they're talking about the whole boat and everything? Makes me wonder what's actually going on in this case.
stick with me here. Unfortunately, after Nolen's friends left, Nolen was never seen alive. again. That evening at around 11 p.m., one of Nolen's friends called Nolen's mom to tell her what had happened since Nolen hadn't been seen or heard from since his friends left him earlier that day. So his friends are on the boat with him. This is a short version for now. They're like, hey, we're going to leave. He's like, hey, I want to stay. They're like, okay, catch a ride, we'll see you later. They don't hear from Nolen. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. They don't hear from Nolen, and one of them says, we better call his mom. So they call her, and as you can imagine, Nolen's mom was extremely concerned because she said that this was very unusual for her son. So she ended up immediately reporting him missing. Now, the very next day, and I cannot imagine that night for Nolen's mom, Christine, I bet she did not sleep a wink, not hearing from him or knowing what was going on. She started posting on social media asking for help to find her son. Meanwhile, the local sheriff's office started a search around the island with the Coast Guard and the United Cajun Navy. Now, Nolen's mom and dad went out to the island as well to help search, and Nolen's cell phone was found by Christine, Nolen's mom. She said that she used the Life 360 app on his phone and saw that his phone was actually on land at his friend's house. She said that when she got the phone back, she went through it and she saw that the phone had no pictures or videos from the 4th of July, which she thought was strange because she felt like pretty much, anybody Nolen's age these days, they're always taking lots of photos and videos, especially on Snapchat. Unfortunately, as the day went on, Nolen wasn't found, and I, again, cannot imagine how these parents were feeling, especially on the water, man. Like, if they were just at a friend's house and they don't hear from him, they think maybe he started drinking, maybe he's sleeping, maybe he's passed out, maybe it's, But the water situation, I just cannot imagine just how ill they felt. The search ended up being ended later that day, but it started back up the next morning. And this time they also had a helicopter searching for Nolen. On that day, which was July 6th, Nolen's body was found on the island, like near the shoreline. The coroner said that there were no immediate signs of any kind of physical trauma, but an autopsy and toxicology testing were ordered because of the body's condition. Dental records did eventually confirm that the body found was Nolen's, and later that day, the sheriff told the media that no foul play was suspected. And you can only imagine, you guys, when they say no foul play that quick, people's antennas go up and say, well, how do you know? How do you know that there was no foul play? And I get it. And the parents, they want answers and they're desperate for any kind of answers. So this was kind of a turn in the case that people were surprised by. In the 2 days that it took to find Nolen, rumors were absolutely going crazy online. I mean, even Nolen's parents were starting to wonder if something bad had happened to him or there was foul play involved. They said in a press conference that when they went to go and get Nolen's cell phone from his friends, something seemed off.
But so our friend actually, when I called her, Nolen is best friends with her 2 sons, Jalen and Javon. When I called her, I said, Shima, have you seen Nolen? He's missing. No one has seen him. No one has talked to him. The boys were actually with her sons. So they opened up their Snapchat because a lot of the kids do have their locations where they're tracking one another. So one of the boys says, well, it's showing that, I can't exactly remember what his location was showing, but my Life 360 location was showing something completely different. It was actually showing that his phone was like he was on land. And so we ended up, she received the phone from that parent, and then we met up where his car was, which was at a separate location. There were issues obtaining the key, but even so, there's just a lot of...
So tell them about what happened to the key.
So I'm going to let my husband tell you about that because he actually went up to the door to get the key because at that point, I was just not in my right mind. This has just been an awful situation, just terrible.
He walks off, 2 or 3 minutes, come back. I can't find the keys. I said, okay, so at that point, I get the boys and I get to move them out the house because I didn't want them to go into the house and start tearing up these people's houses because they'll never be a home in the situation. So we walk outside by the car. One of the guys that was in the house with us, he was on the phone with a girl, and the girl told him that Nolen's keys were on top of this Jax guy's Xbox in the house because apparently she was there with him earlier. So he goes back up to the door by himself, and 5 minutes later, the keys come out. So now I feel like you lied to me. So now I'm really like in distress with you.
Now I do want to say, I did see some people online saying that they didn't feel like the mom authentically wanted to say that maybe she was being encouraged by the people around her to say that, but you make your own decisions on what you think the body language was telling you. So Nolen's parents ended up hiring Ben Crump, a civil rights lawyer. He was there for that press conference, as you guys could see, and he too has questions about what happened to Nolen. The sheriff also did some interviews and said that he confirmed that one of Nolen's friends did report Nolen missing to the Coast Guard that night at 11 p.m.
ABC News confirming one of Wells' friends on the trip made a missing persons report to the Coast Guard around 11 p.m. that night. Wells' mother filing her own report with the Sheriff Department just after midnight. Authorities have said they believe Wells drowned, but the sheriff stressed their work is still ongoing to determine exactly what happened.
We're awaiting the state's autopsy report from the medical examiner's office.
Then Nolen's father said in an interview that he and Nolen's football coach actually took a boat out to that area where Nolen's body was eventually found, and they said that he was not there when they looked.
If I knew anyone had a boat, I would have went out that night looking for my son. We tried, but I don't have friends with boats. But if I knew someone with one, I would have went out that night. And it so happened that his coach saw all the stuff on Facebook that next morning and contacted me like 5 in the morning, asked me if we want to go out. And I told him yes. So within an hour, he was at the dock. We met him and we went out. We docked the boat, got off the boat, walked on the island, walked a pretty nice stretch, came back, got back on the boat, went around the island, came back around, and where we went to, that's where apparently they say that his body floated up. I don't know a lot about water currents or whatever, but I would think that we would have saw his body. And on the trip there was a family that stayed a night on the island, like actually tented out on the island. So if he was left, he would have saw that family on the island, and it was 2 other boats docked, so he would have had help.
Now, I do need to say that when you're dealing with water, this can be a factor. People's bodies, when they take on water, they can sink, and then it takes time for certain decomposition to start, and a lot of the times their bodies will stay underwater for 24 to 48 hours, and then they pop back up. But nevertheless, I can understand all the questions that they have. Then the Mississippi Free Press reported that a United Cajun Navy incident commander said that Nolen was last seen talking with a girl near the north end of the island.
Thank you for calling Convenient Cards Cardholder Services. Account information is also available online at www.convenientcards.com.
Some people believe that this would explain why Nolen wanted to stay behind instead of leaving with his friends at the time that they left. But a lot of people
your card balance and transaction history.
People don't buy that, especially because Nolen's parents have said that Nolen was taught to always stay with his group.
We cannot answer. I can't fathom why he would. Like,
I don't know why he would. We always taught him to, if you go with a group, you stay with a group. Even when he was in college, he would say, "Dad, well, we're gonna ride down to a party or something in another city." Now, so I tell him, look, if you go with 5, you come back with 5. Do not separate from your group. Because I always said safety is in numbers. And he always said, yes, sir. So he knew to stay with his group. So why would he split from his group? I don't know.
Then the mother of one of the boys on that boat with Nolen, Ashley Cole, spoke out and said that her son and Nolen did choose to stay behind. So it wasn't just Nolen, it was him and a friend that chose to stay behind. And she also said that the other boys in the group decided to leave early because the boat started having issues and was taking on water. But some people even question this because that boy's mother, Ashley Cole, is a local judge, and some people find it strange that she would speak out on a case like this. Now, those rumors about that was flying, right? The boat taking on water, Well, just recently, audio has come out that reportedly shows Nolen's friends calling a private towing company for help because there was, in fact, an issue with their boat. Listen to this.
We're sinking. Can y'all please come?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's off the
After making that post, Ashley said that she wasn't going to be making any more public statements because her family had been receiving all kinds of threats, as you guys can imagine. And again, some people found this suspicious.
Okay, guys, Warren's stepmom, the judge, says that they're willing to help now. Here's what Ashley Cole says. We have decided that we will not be speaking to the press at this time. The media is not the appropriate forum to further elaborate on the facts of July 4th, 2026. We realize that the truth will not stop calls. We have not had the opportunity to speak to the Wells Wansley family or their attorney. However, we are willing to directly communicate with attorney Ben Crump and the Wells Wansley family. We will provide them with all information known to us so their family can rest and properly mourn. We also want to know what happened to Nolen. We will do everything within our power to assist Nolen's family in their quest for answers. This comes shortly after Nolen Wells' mother, Christine, said that they had not reached out. None of the parents on the boat had reached out to them. Sounds like Ashley Cole and her family, they're willing to participate in the quest for answers. It did take them a week, but they're on board.
Then, according to Nolen's family lawyer, Ben Crump, the girl that Nolen was seen talking to on the island has told them that Nolen told her he was going to go back with that same group of friends. So to them, these statements from the girl and from one of the boy's mom, they seem to contradict each other. Then there was this picture going around that seemingly shows Nolen in a pool with his friends. And a lot of people believe that this picture was from the 4th of July, and they took it as proof that Nolen made it back onto land.
So there's a picture going around that's getting a lot of attention that allegedly shows Nolen at a pool party at his friend's house before 1 a.m. on July 5th, the same night that he reportedly went missing and never returned from the island. And as you may remember, Nolen's parents said in their most recent press conference that when they checked his location on July 5th, he wasn't on the island anymore. And eventually one of Nolen's friend's moms tracked down his phone and brought it to her, but when she looked at it, there were deleted messages, deleted photos, and they even deleted his entire Snapchat history. So this photo was apparently posted on Nolen's friend Evan's Instagram, but later deleted. And in one of the comments under that photo, this person, Alasia Spencer, says she was also at that pool party and Nolen was there as well. She said that Evan did not get into a fight with his friends on the island. He actually came back from the island with his friends to Evan's house and then got into a fight with them. She said she saw his friends arguing with him. They then took his phone, and when he asked for it back, things got physical. And she later saw Nolen on the ground, gasping for air and spitting up blood. And of course, people started questioning her, saying, if you knew all this, why didn't you notify police? And she said she did. That's how they got his phone, and his keys were on top of his Xbox. And of course, people asked if he was at the pool party, then how did his body get discovered on the island? And she said because his friends were trying to cover up what actually happened, but she knows the truth. And she said that the truth is that his friends took him back to the island the next morning around 4 a.m. on July 5th and just left him there before his body was discovered just hours later. And as you may remember, his parents said it was very suspicious that he was found right there on July 6th when they went to the island the day before on July 5th and searched there all day and found nothing. They also said that the girl that Nolen was with on the island said that Nolen had left her and said that he was going to go back on his friend's boat, when his friends are claiming that he stayed back to talk to her. So clearly one of them is lying.
There's also this video that's going around, and some people are saying that it shows Nolen and his group of friends having a heated argument. Some people even believe that they can hear Nolen yelling, asking for his phone.
I heard it. Get my fucking phone, dude.
Now, according to Ben Crump, Nolen's family lawyer, he said that between that video and what the girl Nolen was talking to said from the island, there are some major contradictions to this story.
Well, the fact that they continue to tell the family that we don't see any evidence of any foul play, even though you have students who recorded an altercation while they were on the boats of argument where you had Nolen and somebody yelling at one another on the boat. So that's an issue. And then you have the young lady make a statement and she says, well, Nolen and I finished talking and Nolen said he was going back to the boat. And then the boys on the boat said, no, Nolen told them he was going to stay with her. And so they are conflicting. She's saying he went and got on the boat. They saying he didn't get on the boat. So which is it? And all we know is Nolen is.
And a lot of people have also pointed out that if Nolen was really planning on staying on that island, why wouldn't he grab his phone out of the boat before his friends left? Well, recently one of Nolen's friends has since come out and said that that voice that you hear in the background of the video is his voice. It's not Nolen's. He also clears up the rumors that are going around about why there were no pictures or videos on Nolen's phone from that day. And he says that it's because they were in the water and everyone left their phones in the boat. This friend also says that that pool picture is actually from June 27th and not from July 4th.
Trayston Shepard declined to speak with us on camera because he says he and his friends are getting threats.
We did no wrong here, and we don't understand how we're getting so much hate behind it. We all cared and loved Nolen, and nobody wanted to see Nolen die. That's the video I'm referring to. That's me yelling. They met that day, and it was kind of one of the things. It did come off that day that he really did like her, but that was the only time they'd ever hung out was at Horn Island on July 4th. I want everybody just to relax and let everybody mourn the loss of Nolen. And let us remember him as in, like, the sweet.
We've already heard all this. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and jump on into the hell? Why my buttons pop off? Do we want to do Vinnie Politan? Well, actually, we'll go with this one first. It's a news broadcast. And guys, I can't see chat right this second, so don't shoot me.
We now have the birth certificates for 15 of the Siders' children that were removed from their family's home in Hamden, Ohio, now about 2 weeks ago. And these birth certificates show us that each of them were born in fact in hospitals. So from 2008 to 2022, Elizabeth Siders gave birth to the children all at the same hospital, Holzer, in Gallipolis, Ohio. Then, if you remember, the twins that were born later in 2022, they were born over at Riverside Hospital. That's the set of twins that were born. They were born conjoined, and they only lived for 1 hour. They died an hour after they were born. So until then, all of the children had been born at the same hospital. So after the set of twins passed away,
y'all, I don't know why I'm having
she gave birth to 2 more sets of twins in 2024 and 2025 at Oblenis Hospital in Athens. So also on each of these birth certificates, it shows the address that the family listed as their home at the time. As we know from law enforcement, they said that the family moved around quite a bit, and that does reflect the addresses that they share on these birth records as well. But from 2008 to 2020, they listed addresses in Gallia County, Ohio. Now that's around where the Holzer Gallup Police Hospital.
That way we can maybe watch it without it doing that shit.
So from 2008 to 2022, Elizabeth Siders gave birth to the children all at the same hospital, Holzer, in Gallipolis, Ohio. Then, if you remember, the twins that were born later in 2022, they were born over at Riverside Hospital. That's the set of twins that were born. They were born conjoined, and they only lived for 1 hour. They died an hour after they were born. So until then, all of the children had been born at the same hospital.
Give me a second, guys. I'm not going to try to end it. But that might have been what I just did. See if I can take one of these off. I'm going to go ahead and end it on... If you're watching over on Kick, or Twitch. If you're watching on one of the, yes, Twitch. If you're watching on Twitch, I'm also playing on Rumble and YouTube. I'm fixing it in the Twitch stream. To see if that's going to help any.
So after the set of twins passed away, she gave birth to two more set twins in 2024 and 2025 at O'Blen Hospital.
And it's still having problems.
In Athens. So also on each of these birth certificates, it shows the address that the family listed as their home at the time. As we know from law enforcement, they said that the family moved around quite a bit, and that does reflect the addresses that they shared on these birth records as well. But from 2008 to 2020, they listed addresses in Gallia County, Ohio. Now that's around where the Holzer Gallup Police Hospital is as well. So 2008, they had a home address in Gallipolis. Then from 2009 to 2017, they lived at a home in Bidwell, also in Gallia County. Then 2019, we have a new address, also in Gallipolis. 2020, a different address. That is in Cheshire, which is also in Gallia County. Then there's some questions about what happened in 2022. So they listed an address here for Bloomer, Wisconsin. But then 2 years later, the other set of twins was born, and they list that same address in Cheshire that they listed in 2020. So we're only showing these addresses because these are not the current addresses of the family. They don't live there anymore. And then 2025, another set of twins were born, and they list their home address as home on Main Street in Hamden. Now that's just down the street from the home where these children were removed, but they were removed from a home on Omer Street. And this kind of brings forth some more questions, because authorities had been saying that they believed that the children were living inside that Omer home for the last 4 years or so. But back in 2025, when the last children were born, they listed a different address. So in addition to these birth records, we also got some records back from the Gallia County Juvenile Court System that show that at one point these children were being tracked by a school district. So October 2021, the school district said that the children hadn't shown up for a single day of that school year, which would have been weeks at that point. And they tried to serve truancy notices to Elizabeth, Gary, and 6 of the oldest children. But when they went to serve those notices, they said that there was no one living at that home. So they couldn't find them. January 2022, there's a follow-up that said the matters were terminated because they could not locate their whereabouts. So what happened? Where did they go? According to the birth records in 2022, the family had listed an address in Bloomer, Wisconsin. So I called the property owner there, and he said that no one was living at that property in 2022. He said it had been vacant since 2017 and had been demolished around 2021, 2022. He also didn't recognize Elizabeth or Gary and said they would have known if there was a family at that time of about 14 that would have been living there. They would have known. So that's the question. Where did this address come from? Did the school district believe that the family was living in Wisconsin? The school district can't answer those questions because of privacy reasons, but it does appear that the family never re-enrolled the Siders' children into school. When they were living in Hamden, we checked with the local Vinton County School District. They said there is no record of the children ever attending there. And we know that when they were moved, the law enforcement officials said that they were not in school. So a lot of questions from these birth and school records still. We are trying to get you answers. We will keep you updated as we learn more.
All right. So that's what the news has on it here as of recent. We will go on before I end. Oops, hold up. Give me a second, guys. While I try to get this to work. Okay. 23 hours ago.
The stuff of nightmares allegedly hidden behind the simple Ohio home.
This is pure evil. What we saw down here today is pure evil.
16 children ranging from 18 months to 18 years old out of what authorities are calling a house of horrors. Conditions inside described as deplorable.
Our livestock was kept in better conditions than the children.
I'll be right back,
Four
guys.
adults arrested, now charged.
All of those counts are felonies of the second degree.
73-year-old Gary Siders and his 36-year-old son appeared together on camera for their arraignment today.
I'll be right with you.
Then 67-year-old Christina Siders and 33-year-old Elizabeth Siders appeared by video, sitting side by side.
Grandma, Grandpa, father, and mother at this point. That's what we know.
All four adults charged with 16 counts of endangering children and being held on $300,000 bond each. They all pled not guilty.
The Siders are facing anywhere from 16 to 128 years in prison.
The house is located in the small village of Hamden, part of Ohio's rural southeastern Appalachian region.
There isn't much evidence that kids live there. I didn't actually go into the room where the kids were. I just looked through the door. That was yesterday. I can still smell. I can't get smell.
The children were kept in a roughly 12 by 12 area. It seems like it's where they've spent most of the last 4 years.
The big question for me as a defense attorney, who's going to talk first? Someone's going to point the finger at someone.
It's horrific. That's just nasty. It's horrific, really is.
Neighbors are surprised and shaken that this situation could have been happening with no one noticing.
And I prayed a whole lot that that all them kids get better.
Several of the children are in serious condition. 2 of the children had to be care flighted to level 1 trauma centers.
The 16 children were initially checked out. Some were taken to hospitals across the state, where they will likely remain for a while.
I think if they would have waited another 24 hours, there was a very high probability that we'd be dealing with a death or multiple deaths of these children.
Sorry about that, y'all. I had to step away for a minute. Had to. Had no other choice. See if I type in Michelle Walks. Yeah, she's done a lot of coverage on the Sider family. I mean, I agree with everything she has to say, but sometimes it is what it is. And I like her stuff because she kind of does set it up for you to just click on. I know Can really don't like her, but it is what it is. I'm sorry, sis. Some of these YouTube people have done some really, really shitty stuff in Summer Wells' case. Some of these
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome
Michelle's one of those. She's an iffy.
to another video. It is Monday morning, the 6th of July. Now, a few people have asked me to cover the case of 16 children out of Hamden in Ohio, Vinton County. 16 children were found in this ramshackle house, and it appeared that they were all living in a 12 by 12 room, and it was absolutely deplorable. They were described by cops and the district attorney as feral. So, yeah, you've asked me, so I will. I've been following this case actually since the very beginning when this broke. It's a few days old now. But to be honest, I think there's more to this that meets the eye. So let's talk about it.
And y'all, I just ranted and no one got to hear it.
Is it possible that that due to educational neglect and not developmental delays?
You don't go to school, you can't be educated.
If these children know how to read and write.
Yeah, again, we're working through that right now. Some of these children could even speak. Yeah, so I mean, we're talking. This is very.
Okay, something I am going to say. The 16 kids had social media. The 2 oldest did. The 2 oldest had boyfriends. The 2 oldest could have been helping the parents because one was 18 years of age.
It was terrible. I mean, they really. It looked like almost feral animals. It was terrible. So when we're talking reading and writing and education, we're talking a whole nother level of expectations here. Like it's hard enough just to get these kids to be able to the 18-year-old can't spell her name.
All right, so the 18-year-old, who's the eldest that was found, can't spell her own name. Well, who was keeping 16 children in deplorable conditions like this? A house of horrors, cops described it as. Well, there was 4 people living in that house. Let's start with the 2 seniors. Gary Siders Sr. Then this is Christina Siders, his wife, known to her family as Lynn or Lenny. And then we've got Gary Siders Jr., who is the son of these 2. And then his wife, Elizabeth Siders. So Gary Siders Jr., Elizabeth Siders, Gary Siders Sr., and Christina or Lynn Siders. Okay? Ormer Street, Hamden, Vinton County, Ohio. So, are all these people just so evil that they're keeping children in this kind of condition? You might say yes, absolutely. Each one of these mother, father, and grandparents have a moral and legal responsibility to keep these children in at least adequate conditions. And I agree with you, 100%. However, I think there's more to this. Now, this all came to light because there was an arrest warrant out for Gary Siders Jr. I'm going to play some clips from neighbours and people in the local community who said, by and large, they didn't even know that the house was occupied, or at least that children were living there. So these children had never been to school. They apparently didn't have medical treatment. Some of these children had to be rushed to hospital. I think one had to be intubated. Yeah, really bad. And the cops said that if these children were in that situation much longer, it's likely that some of them would have died. So it does beg the question as to whether there were more children originally, and some of them did die. That's an open question. That's not what the cops are talking about, but it's just my thought. All right, so this is horrible. So when I say there's more to this than meets the eye, I am not in any way, don't get me wrong, excusing what these people have done. Gary Siders Jr. was the one that had the arrest warrant out for him. So I'm going to play this clip here from WKYC.
Records from the Vinton County Court show on June 29th, a request was filed for a warrant for Gary Siders Jr. The warrant was served the next day, June 30th. It lists 4 public indecency charges for incidents at the Omer Street home on May 23rd, May 27th, May 29th, and May 31st. It's unclear if this is what led investigators to the House of Horror. So far, they've only revealed a parallel investigation was underway at the time of the discovery. But regardless of how it happened, neighbors are just glad the children are now free.
They come on an unrelated charge, unrelated incident, and then they stumbled upon the kids. I'm just glad they found them, because they said in 24 hours they could have been dead.
Those children, by the way, will likely be placed in foster care after they receive the medical attention they need, and they will likely need to be split into multiple foster homes. As for the suspects, all 4 are being held in the Vinton County Jail, each on a $300,000 bond.
To me, it's horrible if they have to split up the kids. If they were so codependent on each other, splitting them up is going to hurt them.
It does in some ways remind me of the case of the Turpin children. There was a bunch of kids being held in deplorable conditions. They were being tied down. They were being really abused, like malnourished. And one of them managed to escape and raise the alarm. But I think there are some differences in this case. I think in this case, we possibly have dementia, maybe mental illness of some kind, maybe domestic assault. And I don't say that lightly, because again, we're not talking about anything that excuses the behaviour. But I wonder whether there are more victims than just the 16 children. Now, this is Christina and Elizabeth Siders at their court appearance, and they've all pled not guilty. She just looks utterly bereft, and she, I don't know, kind of vacant. But what concerns me most is Gary Siders Sr. What are those bruises on his arm? That looks like he's been tied. Now on this side you don't see it the same, but if this dude, this old guy, his dad, was suffering from dementia, were they tying him down? Was he being tied down? They were very, very secretive, and you might say, well, how have they got away with this for this long? Well, they moved around, and none of these kids were enrolled in school. Where these kids were born is another question. The district attorney said that they're not aware that these kids were born in the house. So they must have been born in a hospital, wasn't they? And the defence attorneys for a couple of these people have been speaking out. And you might say, yeah, but they're the defence attorneys. They're going to be on their side. Yeah, but I think there's a very important point to consider here. So I'm going to read this article. Defence attorneys for 2 of the 4 people charged after state and local authorities alleged they found 16 children in deplorable conditions June 30th inside a Vinton County home are speaking out. Gary Siders Jr., 36, Gary Siders Sr., 73, Christina Siders, 67, and Elizabeth Siders, 33, each face 16 counts of endangering children. Additional charges could be filed later. Now, there's been questions about whether all of the children were Elizabeth and Gary Jr.'s. I'm guessing that all of these kids have been DNA tested, so they will find out the truth, even though these kids can't speak properly. But authorities, including Ohio Attorney General Andy Wilson, Vinton County Prosecutor William Archer, and Sheriff Ryan Kane, accused the Siders of keeping the children aged 18 to 18 months in a 12 by 12 room for the vast majority of the past several years. In a press conference posted July 2nd on his office's Facebook page, Lancaster-based attorney Dorian Baum, who represents Gary Siders Sr., said that the case remains in its beginning stages, noting a grand jury still has not issued any indictments. It has not escaped our notice that the state apparatus, from multiple state and local political figures to the interim state attorney general, to the very prosecutor who is going to be presenting this case, have taken every opportunity to attempt to pre-try this case in the court of public opinion. His client remains innocent until proven guilty, he said. I would ask that we all let this process play out, irrespective of the sensationalist underpinnings of the allegations against Mr. Siders, so that we, as his defence counsel, can be provided with whatever evidence the state allegedly has in order to give it a thorough review and determine if the state can meet their burden of proof, or alternatively, if Mr. Siders is actually not guilty of what is being alleged. The question is whether Gary Siders Sr. is suffering from dementia and is therefore incompetent to stand trial. If he is suffering from dementia, is he a victim of this horrific situation, as well as the children? Zanesville-based attorney Thomas Stolley, who represents Elizabeth Siders, told WSYX TV ABC6 in Columbus that he first met with his client for about 90 minutes July 2nd at the Vinton County Jail. The person that I met with is not someone who comes across as pure evil. Evil requires malice, and the person I saw there, Elizabeth, she doesn't have that in her eyes. Well, that's very subjective, at least from this initial meeting. Like Baum, Stolley said the case remains in its early stages, noting his client remains innocent until proven guilty, and encourages the public to wait for more information before making any judgments. When reached on the afternoon of June 3rd, Lee Roberts Jr., who represents Gary Siders Jr., declined to comment. The Dispatch also tried reaching out July 2nd to Kendra Roberts of the Ohio Public Defender's Office, who represents Christina Siders. A voicemail left with the Public Defender's Office was not immediately returned. So, my question is, if Gary Siders Sr. was suffering from dementia, we don't know about Christina Siders, and Elizabeth Siders was living there under coercive conditions, what level of guilt can we place on those two individuals? Elizabeth Siders was married at the age of 15. Allegedly, she had a...
If you ask me, the same level And this is because I love Dawn and Candace. Same level of guilt that you guys put on Dawn and Candace. How about that?
First child at the age of
All right, y'all.
13 years old. Now, it's not clear whether Gary Siders Jr. was the father of that first child. It's also not clear where that first child is, because the 18-year-old, that child would have been born when Elizabeth Siders was 15. Very young teenager. Don't know about her early life. But Gary Siders Jr., let's posit the possibility that he is the offender who has been controlling that entire household for years. So although numerous neighbours have said that they didn't know anyone was living there, it looked derelict, or the people who did know someone was living there didn't know there was children, well, the Dollar General in that local community, the employees there didn't know the Siders. They've got to go out and about to buy food. Where are they getting their money from? Are they all on public assistance, state benefits, whatever they're called in Ohio? But listen, go to the store like every night. We don't know whether it's different children, you know who gets the special treat of going to the store. Don't know who all was there. Was it all four Siders who went, or was it just one? Was it Gary Jr.? Was it Elizabeth? Was it both of them? Was it all of them? We don't know. That's not clear. But the point is, people did see them. People did know about this family. If these children were being born in various different hospitals, where's their medical records? I've got lots of unanswered questions. Now, sleuths on the internet have been doing some digging about this case. And this is a family member who wrote on Facebook. And she calls the senior Siders Aunt Lenny and Uncle Gary. So those are the two grandparents. Y'all, I just know my Aunt Lenny and Uncle Gary can't be in the right state of mind, because they would have never allowed them kids to live like that. And I'm starting to believe they both do have dementia. I keep watching the court videos, and it's like they have no clue what's going on. Like, I agree with Uncle Gary's lawyer. They need to check them too and make sure they aren't victims too. I just feel it in my heart that Bub, Gary Jr., was abusing them. I just feel it. And to them, all Bub's life, he could do no wrong. He was their baby. And I feel in my heart something is wrong with them. And that's why they were living like that. And I think the marks on Uncle Gary's wrist was he was tied down. I wish people that was close to them would have got all help. Breaks my heart seeing them two like that, and I know it's not them. And if I'm proven wrong, then yes, they deserve to be punished. I just know that's not them, and not something they would allow. Like, I grew up with their kids, and we was always there, and the house would be clean. If you didn't know her, you wouldn't understand her heart, especially for kids. So she's referring to Aunt Lenny, who's Christina. I honestly don't know what to think. I can't stop watching that court video. I can tell that they ain't in the right state of mind. They are lost. Don't get me wrong, if it's proven they are in their right state of mind and they allowed it, then they do need to be punished for it, just as the parents. I pray them babies are all getting loved on and shown love. They are the #1 victims in this, but I do feel there is going to be more than 16 victims. I know I will probably get some hate, and that's okay. Everyone has their own opinions, and I'll say the same. There's maybe more to this. I could give you a whole lecture about domestic abuse against elders, against entire families. It's called patriarchal terrorism or intimate terrorism, if you want to make it gender neutral. But in this case, what if Gary Siders Jr. is the abuser and everyone else was his victims? Now, what about the house? Well, this is to do with the house itself. It was my grandmother who passed and owned it, so owned the house. Now it's in trust. They pay my aunt. None of them lived with or knew them prior to renting to them. So this is the landlords of this house. So the question is, do you know when the last time your aunt or family member has been to the house? I would say, if at all, it was before they moved in. Let me say, my family would have reported them if she knew. She would have evicted them if they didn't pay. As long as they pay, she won't bother them. They pay a drop box to her house. Any idea what the rent was? And if your aunt did a background check and she doesn't know the answer to that question. So this is the background to that. Siders family update, true crime manor. After some digging by my team, some information shared by followers, we have learned that Gary Sr. and Lynn, Christina, were renting this home from a relative of the lady MT, whose name is on the trust. MT passed in April of 2025 at 91 years of age. At least one home very near this house of horrors is occupied by a family member of MT. According to another relative of MT, the Siders were dropping their rent in a drop box. Clearly, none of the relatives of MT knew that any of the children were in their home. I am certain they are shaken to the core. I want to be very careful with identities because even though this information is publicly accessible, I'm not going to throw names out of people who haven't been charged. Some of you all get a little crazy. Well, that's true. Now, this is the background to the family. As I said, Elizabeth Siders was married at the age of 15. In 2008, Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders were legally married in West Virginia. Again, they've moved around a lot, which is, I think, how all these children being born have just fallen through the cracks. He was 18, she was 15. For this to happen, the parents had to sign off. Gary Lee Siders and Christina White signed for Gary Jr., and Brian Russell and Laurie Ann Rains signed for Elizabeth. At the time, she was Elizabeth Ann Russell and had just completed 8th grade. 2 months later, she gave birth to her second child. So this is presumably the 18-year-old. According to statements from family members, Elizabeth gave birth to her first child at the age of 13. It's unclear whether that child belonged to Gary Siders Jr. So he would have been 16. She would have been 13. That child falls outside the current case involving the 16 children found in the home. Those children are aged 18, 16, 15, 14, 13, 11, 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, twins, 2, twins, and 1.5 years, twins. Well, that math ain't mathing, because pregnancy is 9 months, so these two must be nearly 3 for these two to be 1.5 years old. And this is all just alleged at this stage. This is not official. This is what sleuths are finding. This is not officially, out there, but it's worth noting at this point. It's assumed that all of the children belong to Elizabeth and Gary Jr., but we don't know that for sure yet. One hiccup in the investigation is that the children can barely communicate, and we've kind of gone full circle because that's where we started. So, yeah, let's not be too quick to judge here all of the 4 members of this family. Now, if it turns out that all 4 are competent and, psychologically in their right mind, then throw the book at them. Throw the book at them all. But let's be sure that everybody who is currently charged is at least competent to stand trial. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.
Go, Gal Gorge! Go, Gal Gorge!
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Thursday morning, the 9th of July. And we're going back to Ohio today, to the devastating case of the Siders family. The Ohio 16. 16 children found when cops were investigating another matter in the family, in a small house on Omer Street in Vinton County, with 4 adults present, the parents of the 16 children, Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders, and the parents of Gary Siders Jr., Gary Siders Sr., and Christina Siders, known as Lynn. All 4 adults were arrested and charged with 16 counts of child endangerment. So what we're going to do in this video is go through all of the updates that have happened in the last 24 hours. Let's go. Now, the big thing that came out yesterday was that Gary Siders Sr., who is in his 70s, I believe he's 73, has been released from jail. His attorney was extremely concerned about Gary Siders Sr.'s mental health and his physical capacity to basically do anything. In his initial court appearance, he just didn't look with it at all. He was in a wheelchair. His mobility is very much reduced. It's been said that he had a stroke. I don't know the truth of that, but he's very, very unwell. So he had a fall on his way to court the other day, which is why he didn't appear. And he is extremely unwell. So the judge ordered that Gary Siders Sr.'s bond be modified as requested by his attorney, from cash or surety to a $300,000 recognizance bond. So basically, he's out of jail, with GPS paid for by the state's expense in the event that he is released from hospital. And the prosecuting attorney did a short press conference yesterday to explain this matter, basically saying Gary Siders Sr. is a very, very unwell man and he is in hospital. Whether he is expected to recover is unknown. Really bad health, plus the shock of all of this going on, well, it might well finish him off. But listen to what the prosecuting attorney said.
Point number 2. I think most of you are aware now that Gary Siders Sr., the older Gary Siders, was provided with a bond today, an OR bond. Let me explain the circumstances around that. First, let me stress, the community is not at risk because of this bond. Yesterday, as you all know, the cases were scheduled for preliminary hearing. During the transport, Mr. Siders fell and had a medical issue that required treatment and assessment. O'Glennis Hospital was where he was taken, and it was determined at that point upon some tests that O'Glennis did that Mr. Siders Sr. has a serious medical condition that requires specialized care in a hospital outside of this area. Practically, and I don't know if you folks know this or not, but when defendants are housed in county jails, it is the county's responsibility to pay for the medical care. Prisons are for defendants who have been convicted. Then the state pays for it. But he's still an innocent man that has not been convicted yet. So the county was going to be on the hook for his medical care. And again, based on the information that we were provided, his medical care could potentially bankrupt Vinton County. We were not going to put that burden also on our local taxpayers. And so it was agreed that we would do a recognizance bond so he could get the medical treatment that the doctors say he needs. And won't cost the county that money.
All right, so it's good to know that the prosecuting attorney, well, it's all about money for him. Vinton County is the poorest county in Ohio, apparently. And it's heartwarming to know that they don't send unconvicted people to prison. Maybe Indiana can learn some things from them. But it would have been all on the county for Gary Siders Sr. to get the care that he needed if he remained in jail. So he's been released on a recognizance bond. I've said from the very beginning that there's more to this case than meets the eye. I believe that Gary Siders Sr. was not involved in the day-to-day care or lack thereof of those children. Just by looking at him during the first court appearance, you knew he just wasn't all there. He wasn't with it. He didn't know what on earth was going on. So the shock of all of this, I think, has just been the final straw. And I do not think that Gary Siders Sr. can be prosecuted for these crimes. I don't think he's competent to stand trial. I believe potentially he's also been a victim of whoever is in charge of this family. Is that Gary Siders Jr.? Is that Elizabeth Siders? Let's throw in a wild card here. Is it Elizabeth Siders who's controlling the shots? This might be an unpopular opinion because I know that a lot of people are supporting Elizabeth. Let's talk about Elizabeth. She's had 18 children that we know about. I mean, there may be more. The children that were found in the home were aged from 18 to about 1.5 years. So 18 years to 18 months. And we were told at the first press conference that the 18-year-old couldn't even write her own name. Well, we know that is not true. The two oldest Siders girls had Facebook accounts. They had TikTok accounts. They were on social media. So they had access to the internet. They had phones maybe, or access to a laptop. They had communication with the outside world. So I don't think that these kids were kept imprisoned. I think whatever horrors were encountered in that house when cops got there is a relatively recent matter. And I said this yesterday in a video. I believe that the devastating events that has led us here, I think, are unfortunate results of ill health, poverty, low IQ. I don't like the way that this family is being portrayed by some people. I don't think that Gary Siders Sr. and Christina are blameworthy here. There's photos of them that family have been releasing in happier times when they were younger. And I think as their health has declined, they have become victims of the same circumstances as the children are in. Now let's talk about Christina Siders. Is it true, as has been speculated, that she is suffering from dementia? Family members have come out and said they remember Gary and Christina when they were younger, and they love their children. Now, we don't know. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. We don't know whether any of this is true, but let's entertain the possibility that Gary and Christina have ill health. We don't know anything about Christina's health formally from the prosecutors or the cops at the moment, or even Christina's own attorneys. We don't know about Christina at the moment. But let's just, pencil it in that potentially she is suffering from dementia. And if so, maybe she's in the same boat as Gary Sr. And maybe she needs to be released on recognizance bond. Now, let's talk about Elizabeth, because I'm very concerned about Elizabeth, and I know a lot of people are, that she is a victim of this family. I don't think she's a victim of the older Siders, yet we do know that Elizabeth married very young, when it would have been certainly illegal to marry here in the UK. I mean, you can get married at 16 here in the UK with your parents' permission. Now, Elizabeth was 15, and they went over the border into West Virginia so that Gary and Elizabeth could marry, and that was approved of by the parents. Obviously, Gary at 18 was an adult anyway, but Elizabeth was only 15. Now, a lot of Elizabeth's family are out speaking, and some have said that she's been indoctrinated by the Siders. But I want to share this post with you. Now, it's an anonymous post, but I thought this was interesting, and it gives us maybe a little bit of a different opinion here. I spoke to a relative of Elizabeth's. So this anonymous person isn't the relative. This person is basically giving us a bunch of hearsay. All right, I spoke to a relative of Elizabeth that contacted me after seeing one of my posts. Her family is on this page. We do know this. We do know that at least Elizabeth's brothers have both spoken out. So Elizabeth has 2 brothers. I don't know whether she's got any more siblings, but There's the two brothers that are out there very vocal. So her family is on this page and they are mortified. You can all believe this or not. As we know, not everything we are told is true. But Elizabeth does not have a low IQ, according to this cousin. So this is a cousin of Elizabeth. She was considered extremely outgoing as a young girl and very pretty. She was. She was a wild child and a tomboy that got along well with her cousins. She loved playing outside and was good at swimming. When she got pregnant the first time, the police were involved and the baby's father was 15, so nothing was done. Now, there is a question mark about Elizabeth's first child. Was Elizabeth's first child conceived with Gary Siders Jr. and the child that is now the eldest child in this cause, so the 18-year-old? Or was there a child before this by a different father? Some people honed in on a 19-year-old who fits the age bracket, but it appears, and I don't know this for sure, but it appears, and it was said so by Elizabeth's brother, that that child is actually this brother's child, so it would be Elizabeth's nephew. I've also heard, again, we don't know, we can't verify any of this, the first child that Elizabeth had with a different father when she was like only 13 or 14, died. Don't know whether any of that is true, but the father of that child was only 15, so nothing was done. One of the father's family members took the child. Okay, so the child didn't die. There's potentially another child out there that is Elizabeth Siders' first child, but is not involved in this cause, in this matter. Speculation, but Elizabeth started having children very young. Even if she didn't have a first child before Gary Jr., she did start having children very young. When Elizabeth got pregnant again, her parents wanted her to give the baby up for adoption, and she refused, instead marrying Gary, who does have a low IQ and was childlike. So Elizabeth is the one that is maybe of normal IQ. Gary has got a very low IQ, and he goes along with stuff. All right. Elizabeth very much controlled her relationship with Gary and controlled him, and was close to her mother-in-law. So Elizabeth was close to Christina. Elizabeth was never cruel or mean to anyone, but she became a hermit and avoided her family when she asked for them to send her money, and they asked to see the kids before sending money. She would promise to show up for Christmas, but sometimes would just send one or two of the kids over to her mother's house. The kids were well dressed and appeared healthy, but this was a decade ago. None of the family have seen Elizabeth or the kids for a long time. The older kids absolutely can talk and were normal children that played with other kids. Like I said, believe it or not, the family is on this page. It will be interesting to see what we all learn. Interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. So what happened to Elizabeth? From being this outgoing teen who started having kids young, maybe that's why her family signed her over to Gary Siders Jr. to get married. That they knew she was a wild child. They knew that that's what she wanted, so they went along with it. Rightly or wrongly, they went along with it. I would say wrongly, but I wasn't there. I wasn't involved. Maybe they thought they were doing the best. Maybe they thought they were doing what their daughter wanted. But at 15, how do you really know what you want? But anyway, she ends up living with Gary Siders Jr. and they continued to have children. Now, why? Why were they not using contraception? Well, you might say it's due to poverty, it's due to having a low IQ. But according to this cousin, Elizabeth doesn't have a low IQ. Gary does. Maybe he went along with all these children and they get to a point where they just can't cope. So is it irresponsible to keep having children when you can't provide for them? Yes, of course it is. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. But they keep having these children. They get into a situation that they can't handle. Maybe Elizabeth starts suffering from the effects of having so many children back to back, and her mental health becomes a problem. Maybe that's why she becomes a hermit, and they just can't cope. So this is a family circumstance where I don't think no one did anything malicious to these children, but they all got into a situation where they just can't cope. The children are the primary victims, obviously, but we need to, I think, look at these adults with compassion rather than hate. Now, there might be abuse in the home that we're not aware of at this moment in time, but nobody has said, nobody has come out and said that these were mean people. Why Gary Jr. and Elizabeth moved in with Gary Sr. and Christina is currently unknown. Maybe it was because they were unwell, and Elizabeth, close to her mother-in-law, said that she'd move in, and then it just all went to rack and ruin because then none of them could cope. Gary Sr. is extremely unwell. Elizabeth's suffering from mental health problems. They had the loss of the conjoined twins in 2022. She's had at least 4 sets of twins. She had the conjoined twins, and then the rest of the children, like after that, have been twins. I mean, it's difficult to bring up twins. If you've got 3 sets of twins under the age of 5, imagine how difficult that would be. And yeah, it's irresponsible to keep having children. It is. I don't like this hate that's going on. And look, if there's genuine abuse going on, that was malicious, that was hateful, I'll take everything back that I'm saying. But at this moment in time, I think there's more to this than meets the eye, all for different reasons. It's a melting pot of, well, something that has turned into a horror show. But I don't think anybody maliciously went out to create a horror show. I think these people are a victim of the circumstances that they've got themselves into and maybe couldn't get out, and love their children, didn't want them taken off them, so they started to hide. They started to become more and more insular. And maybe that's why Elizabeth has just shut herself away, shut her children away, and the situation has become life-threatening for some of these children. Life-threatening. Now, having so many children, you know, it's unusual in this day and age, but it wasn't unusual 100 years ago. My great-grandma had 13 children. Only 7 survived into adulthood. My granddad was the second youngest, and he didn't even know the names of some of his older siblings who died before he was born. Now, I found the names of 12 of the entire family. I can't find the 13th. I'm wondering whether that was a late miscarriage and didn't have a birth certificate, but it was not unusual at all. Sometimes, you know, even now, people choose to have really large families. The largest family in the UK is currently the Radford family. They've got 22 kids, stars of the TV show 22 Kids and Counting. These kids have grown up in the public eye. There's actually 21 live children, started having children when they were underage. Noel and Sue Radford were underage when they had the first kid. And they carried on having children because they just love children. The 22nd one was stillborn, but they can afford to keep these kids. They've done lots of TV. They run this very successful business. They've got a YouTube channel. That, you know, they're doing well. They're doing well. So you might say, well, they can have 22 kids if they can look after them. And they have. They have looked after them. But the desire to keep having children is maybe not as unusual as we think. With mental health, with low IQ, and then with cognitive decline, all in the mix. Maybe that is the recipe for the horror that we've got on our hands now. So it might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to say, let's just have compassion until we know the truth of this. And I'm not happy with the way that the prosecutors have been talking about this family. But I'm prepared to take everything back if it turns out this was really, you know, set up as an abuse situation. But everything I've heard Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Friday morning the 10th of July. We're going back to Ohio today, to the case of the Siders family, which is horrific, there's no doubt about it. But I think, as I've said from the very beginning of this case, there's more to this than meets the eye. We're going to talk about the latest updates, specifically Elizabeth Siders' attorney and Gary Siders Sr.'s attorneys have both spoken out again. And we're going to contemplate whether this truly was pure evil or whether this was a case of absolute, utter desperation. We're also going to juxtapose this case with a case that, in my opinion, really was pure evil. Let's go! Alright, so right off the bat, the Attorney General and the prosecuting attorney, the cops, they came out of the starting blocks ready to go. They portrayed this picture of the discovery of the 16 Siders children as feral children who were like the starving kids in Africa. This is the Attorney General's own words. Acts of pure evil. It certainly painted a picture that was absolutely horrific. Of children that weren't able to communicate, that were utterly void of basically any human care or compassion at all. This was their answer to one question about whether the children are talking.
During the sorry. That's one of the challenges we're facing. That's why there's kind of contributes to a lack of information. It's one of the investigative challenges we have to face is that they are limited. They can communicate, but it's extremely limited, and some not at all at the moment.
Are any of these children, are they found on Amber Alerts, kids platforms, or anything like that? Why were the conditions deemed unsafe for officers?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. But
So as they were doing the search warrant yesterday and moving property, they literally were about to fall through the floor.
Was there any indication that the kids were involved in public life for education prior to the movement in county?
Not at this time, no.
How long was this investigation going on? Were there any complaints that were made to local town fair authorities?
Well, again, I'm talking about the part of the investigation that got us to the search warrant, and that was an ongoing cooperative investigation that had gone on. Again, something unrelated. It wasn't about the welfare of these 16 kids. At that point, we didn't know that there was going to be 16 kids there. We weren't. Again, when they talk to people, people were like, "No, I haven't seen any kids. I haven't seen any kids there." So some of that is out there with respect to the parallel investigation. That was going on, I don't know, it was a joint effort between Vinton County and BCI, maybe a month, 6 weeks, but that was not related to the conditions of the house or the welfare. Literally, they were coming to the culmination of that other investigation, which led them to do a search warrant at that house.
Are there birth certificates for the children? Are there birth certificates for the children? Anything on record?
We're still part of the investigation.
That's still part of the investigation. That's something we're working.
All right. We got this parallel investigation. We know that Gary Siders Jr. was potentially indecently exposing himself for different occasions. Now, that could be something as simple as him urinating in public. That will be considered public indecency. We don't know who reported this issue. They live on a very quiet street. There's a railway line that's very close to the property. There's neighbours either side, but they're fairly well spaced out. So it's understandable that maybe the neighbours wouldn't have known how many people were living in that house. The kids weren't going to school. Maybe they were being hidden. Maybe they were, because the family feared having the children taken away from them. But it could be something as simple as somebody seen Gary Siders Jr. urinating in public, and all of the wild speculation that's coming out about Gary Siders Jr. being some kind of online predator, and the social media accounts that his daughters had were him trying to entice young people. Well, no, I don't believe that to be true, because the social media accounts that I've seen from the two oldest girls, it's very clear from what you can see of them that they are young people, and certainly not a man. All right, but I'm not going to show any of that. You're going to have to find out all out for yourself. I'm not going to show their social media accounts. However, how did they get into this situation? Well, something else I will dispel at this point was that there is some kind of cult situation going on where they basically held Elizabeth Siders captive and had her as a breeder. And I've seen some people going, oh, well, both Gary Jr. and Gary Sr. were taking turns on Elizabeth. You know, it's really horrible, horrible stuff that's coming out. And that some of the kids are going to turn out to be Gary Seniors. Look, they will have DNA tested those kids, so again, that will all come out in the wash. You know, even the mainstream media, I'm seeing it from mainstream media in my country, the UK, saying this was an incest house and that they're inbred. And listen, all of this language makes it sound sordid and more horrendous than it is, and it's horrendous to start with. You know, the fact that a whole family are living like this. There's 20 people in that house. It's not a large house. However, I'm not saying that what the first responders saw wasn't horrific. What I do question, however, is the motivation of these people. That this wasn't an act on numerous acts of pure evil. These kids weren't prisoners. These kids weren't chained down. As far as we know, they weren't confined to one room. They maybe have been found in one room, but they weren't confined to it. The smallest kids, of course, they're not going to be able to communicate. The youngest were 1.5 years. Of course, they're not going to be able to communicate. And then there's a couple of other sets of twins who would be toddlers, certainly under the age of 5. They're not going to be able to tell everything that they've seen, everything that they've witnessed. There is going to be limitations. And remember, 3 sets of twins born since 2022. Actually, 4 sets of twins born since 2022, because there was Bailey and Faith, who were conjoined twins, who were born prematurely and died the same day that they were born. They were joined at the chest. Thraso-Pagus twins joined at the chest. That happened in 2022, but there's been 3 other sets of twins. So that's 6 of the 16 who were very, very young. So when this guy says, yeah, well, we're struggling because these kids can't communicate, well, yeah, some of them can't because of their age. But the eldest ones absolutely can. They did have social media accounts. They were able to communicate with the outside world. When this all became, well, the state that it's in now is questionable, but it seems to be recent, and it seems to be after Gary Sr. got sick. Now, there's a picture of Gary Sr. and Christina in 2023. They look happy and healthy. So whatever happened after 2023. I've heard that he had a stroke in 2025, and that
once this one's over, I'm going to go ahead and go to Josh and Mama, and after Josh and Mama's live, or Josh and Mama's recording is over, we will end the live stream. If anyone has any comments, any questions about the Sider family, feel free to ask. I will try to find the answers within the next 24 hours. I'll be live Sunday to finish up on what Michelle's putting out about the Siders family. Yeah.
And the girls stopped posting on social media, like the end of 2025. So I think possibly Gary Jr. and Elizabeth and
So that would be Senior, Elizabeth, and Junior.
All of their kids went to live with Gary Senior and Christina, supposedly to help out, and it's all become too much for all of them. All of them. So I think they were all suffering. There's no way that Gary Senior was able to commit atrocities that the AG is claiming. Gary Siders Senior's attorney has spoken out again. This was on Law and Crime Network. This is what he said about Gary Senior.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that is not what that means. It doesn't mean this is a crazy person just, with some great, some mental illness where they are insane and did something horrific. That is a possibility. But this could be that he has a condition mentally where he just couldn't appreciate what was going on around him. So that could qualify under the NGRI statute in the state of Ohio.
That's right. And as you mentioned, it could be that a person is crazy. I mean, I've had clients who are found NGRI because they were hearing voices or they believe they were in an alternate reality. I've also had people found NGRI because they have such a decompensation of their mental faculties. They have dementia or some other degenerative disease such that they truly don't know what's going on. And I use the term dementia not because I myself am a doctor and I'm diagnosing Mr. Siders, but most people have had some experience meeting a person with dementia. And I think we can all appreciate that a person who has dementia may say something inappropriate. Let's talk about low level, not talking about this case at all, just low level issues. But they might say something inappropriate, or they might accidentally lash out. And we all recognize that person. We say things even colloquially. Well, they don't know what they're doing, right? So this is, of course, a more serious matter, but it's also a more serious legal term of art where it's that, but put within the law, right? It's, does this person appreciate the wrongfulness of what took place? And if he doesn't, then that is where the not guilty by reason of insanity might come in.
The judge has ordered, as requested, that Gary Senior be sent for an evaluation. So this is from the judge. Order directing an evaluation to determine whether the defendant is not guilty by reason of insanity and whether the defendant is competent to stand trial. So it's hereby ordered that the Forensic Diagnostic Centre of District 9 will examine defendant to determine whether defendant is not guilty by reason of insanity and whether the defendant is competent to stand trial. The person conducting the examination will be an examiner as defined by the Ohio Revised Code. To be scheduled, the examiner shall submit a written report of the examination to the court under seal no later than 30 days after the date of the order. Okay, so it shall be separate from the report on the issue of mental condition of defendant at the time of the offence charge. The report of the examiner shall contain the findings of the examiner, the facts in reasonable detail on which the findings are based, and the opinion of the examiner as to whether defendant is capable of understanding the nature and objective, and so on and so forth. If it's the opinion of the examiner the defendant is incapable of understanding the nature and objective of the proceedings against defendant or of assisting in the defence of defendant, the examiner also shall state in the report the opinion of the examiner as to whether the defendant presently is mentally ill or has intellectual disability, and the recommendation of the examiner as to the least restrictive placement or commitment alternative, including consideration of housing needs and the availability of mental treatment in the community consistent with the treatment needs of defendant for restoration to competency and the safety of the community. The time which defendant must be brought to trial is extended by virtue of Ohio Revised Code, and that will all be determined upon the findings of this examiner. If Gary Senior has had strokes, if he's suffering from dementia or some other form of cognitive decline, and I've experienced this very acutely with a member of my family, and it's horrible to think that a man in an advanced state of cognitive decline is living in that situation, and he's every which way a victim, as are the children. And there's no way that he could have committed acts of neglect, abuse, whatever. There's no way he could have been in charge of those children by reason of his mental and physical impairment. So, in my opinion, charges against him should be dropped. That's my opinion. There's no way he could have participated in the care or lack thereof of those children. So that's just my opinion, but it's good that this is all happening. For Gary Sr., he's currently in hospital, as I talked about yesterday. The chances of him being released from hospital anytime soon, well, I don't know. I mean, they are limited in what they can say due to HIPAA, which is obviously understandable. I'd like to hear from Christina Sider's attorney. There's a question mark still upon Christina. She looks to me like she's got that vacant stare of somebody with dementia. Again, I've got personal experience of this, but I'd like to hear that from her attorney. She may not be as bad mentally and physically as Gary Sr., but time will tell on that one. So that leaves Gary Jr. and Elizabeth as the parents of these children to be blameworthy. Now, a lot of people are supporting Elizabeth, and in my opinion, rightly. I think she's possibly been put in a situation that she absolutely cannot handle. We know from family members that she got on well with Christina, so maybe she offered to go and live there and help, and got completely overwhelming. She may be suffering from depression, the constant pregnancies, and yes, I understand when you say, well, she brought it all on herself, because who would have such a big family? Well, some people want a big family. Maybe at first they thought they could cope with it, and they're now in this situation where they knew that things were going wrong and they can't reach out for help because they fear that they're going to have the children taken away from them. That's why they start hiding. That's why everything just goes completely wrong, and they're all victims of this circumstance that, yes, all right, you can say they've brought it on themselves, but how do they then get out of it? How do they then get out of it without their children being taken away from them? So I'm thankful that some people are being compassionate towards this family. It's the prosecuting attorneys that have put this, pure evil mindset into the public domain, and it's wrong. In my opinion, it's completely wrong. Elizabeth's attorney has spoken out again, Tommy Stolley, so I want to listen to a little bit of what he said. This was on WBNS 10 TV.
What she tells me is that the kids had phones. Some of them had social media, the older kids. I don't know how active they were on that social media, but she tells me that they had little inside jokes. And I think the big thing with that is it doesn't jive with the way that this case has been characterized in the public. Because when you use language like feral kids, you're imagining people that have been isolated away from human contact. People who have never interacted with any sort of social media, with the internet, with humans outside of their own home, or even humans in general, who are completely lack the ability to use language. There's nothing to suggest that that is the case here.
So the kids can communicate?
That's my understanding, yes.
Family members have said that they knew the older kids, they were completely normal kids. Yeah, the younger ones, they're not going to be able to communicate, but again, the AG coming out and calling them feral kids, like starving kids in Africa, like it was stepping into the third world. All of that is very loaded rhetoric, completely wrong of them to do it, in my opinion, without knowing the circumstances. And by labelling this family pure evil, you set them up to fail. And that's wrong. That's wrong, in my opinion. I just hope that the judge doesn't slap some kind of gag order on, does a Judge Gull complete dick move like Judge Gull did, and basically shut down the communication and have these people suffering in silence. Hope the judge in this case is fair and compassionate as far as they can be as a judge. So, what does pure evil actually look like? Juxtapose this case, which came to light on June 30th, with another case in South Carolina that came to light on the same day, June 30th, when 4-year-old Javea Harris was reported missing by...
We're not. Sorry, that one triggers me. She was 4, Summer was 5. Y'all, Tucson's also going through some major flooding. I know there was a car saved last night from it. Anyway, there was something else I wanted to do real quick. I don't remember now what it was, but we're not going to watch that. If anyone wants any info on that one, you guys can go look it up yourselves. I just can't. Let's see, Josh and Mama. Josh and Mama. We'll go see what Josh and Mama are cooking today.
Mama, what are we cooking today? I'm gonna help
This is one of my favorites.
out. I'm gonna help out today.
Okay, so I'm going to be making the southern tomatoes and rice.
And so are you getting this recipe from, I know you sent it to me, but also you're trying to recall like your grandma making it or something?
Okay, yeah, when we were kids, this was something that Grandma Ruby and Granny Connie made.
Right.
Growing up.
Right.
And it's funny because I actually asked Tony, I said, did Nana used to make tomatoes and rice when you was a kid? He was like, no.
Oh.
And I was like, So, but I mean, they would make it all the time, and it was always so good.
And you know how they made it? You know their recipe?
Now, I do not know their recipe, but I am going to go by the recipe that I sent you.
Okay, and then hope
And
it tastes the same.
Fingers crossed.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
Super simple and easy. All right, we're talking fresh tomatoes, onions.
In the summertime.
Yes.
This just feels like a summer recipe.
Look, they would throw tomatoes and rice together like in a minute, okay?
And y'all, I figured we needed a little something to go with the rice, so I'm going to be cooking are these New York strips?
Those are.
Okay, I'm gonna be cooking some New York strips because I usually eat steak like every week. Like I love to cook up a steak and then I chop it up into bite-sized pieces and then I throw it on stuff throughout the week. So I'm gonna be showing y'all how I make my New York strips to go with the tomato rice.
I don't fool with steak. I just don't. For some reason, I just don't cook steaks. I don't know what it is.
Oh, they're good.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they are, but I just don't fool with them for some reason. But I'm down for a good steak. All right, so what I want to do first, y'all.
Wait. Let's show them our new pot.
Oh my gosh, y'all, we went to Home Goods yesterday, and when I saw these pots, I took a picture and I sent it straight to Josh. I said, these are so pretty.
I said, hell, get them.
And we did. Y'all look at these.
Look at these pots, y'all, we got from Home Goods.
These things, look, y'all, they are so pretty. The details and the flowers and stuff.
These three are the same, like, the ovally shape, these three. And then we was like, oh, should we get the straight one? It doesn't really match the other three. We was like, hell.
Well, just
while we're here, we might as well.
Y'all, these patterns are so cute. I love these.
So we're going to be using this one today to cook the rice.
We are. So I'm super excited.
Oh, I said, Jinx.
Is that what you just said too?
Oh, hell, but I can't have a soda. I'm on a diet. You owe me a flavored water.
Okay. So anyway, what I want to do first, y'all, is go ahead and dice up my onion. And I'm going to take these tomatoes and we got to get them diced up also.
Ooh, how small?
I guess as small as you want. If you want big chunks of tomatoes, fine. If you want small chunks, I'm going to probably do them in medium size is what I'm going to do.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
So you want to come back when we get those chopped up?
The tomatoes and the onions, yes.
Okay, we'll be back. Okay, we're back.
We are back now. What I'm going to do is go ahead and get this started, okay?
What? Yeah, that's the point of this video.
What I was going to say is I'm going to go ahead and get it started here, and then I'm going to move it over there so you can work on the steaks while it's cooking.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what we're going to do.
And I noticed you went with chunky pieces.
They're kind of all over the place because I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how Grandma and Granny used to cut their tomatoes. Okay.
Oh wait, we forgot to show them our new knife block.
Yes.
You used the new knife for this, because y'all look. We got a new Pioneer Woman knife block. Brand new. It says Pioneer Woman on it. And we got a new damn napkin holder.
And these knives are sharp.
I was scared I was going to slice my finger open, like opening the box and everything and putting them in there.
Well, when I tell you it just sliced right through this tomato, oh my gosh.
We needed to upgrade because it's been years that we've been using this other one.
It's been a little while.
And we cook every day. They are so dull, y'all. And we could sharpen them, but some are missing tips. We probably ate the tip.
Don't know where they are.
And then the wooden block thing is just like old and nasty and dirty and everything.
Yeah.
So we needed a new one.
We did need a new one. All right, y'all. I'm just going to take some butter because I'm thinking back then all they had was butter and lard. They didn't have
margarine, maybe.
Margarine, maybe. I don't know, but they didn't have olive oil and all that stuff.
And y'all, we don't know where this butter came from.
Nope, it was in a plastic bag, and I said, let's use it.
Looks like somebody took a bite. You got in your hair?
Yeah. I've had it, I just ain't used it in a while.
Dang, we just newing it all up.
And you ain't seen this in a while either. Halara.
Tennis dress?
Yes, because it's got the shorts underneath.
Tennis.
This is old as dirt too. All right, we're gonna add a little bit of olive oil, okay, just a little bit.
Is that what the recipe did?
Because apparently, if you add olive oil to butter, the butter doesn't burn, supposedly. I don't know.
Oh.
Now, I did use 2 Vidalia onions.
Right.
Because y'all already know you cannot have too many onions.
So was the original one onion?
I used 2, okay?
Right. Well, what about the tomatoes? How many tomatoes?
It said 2 pounds, but I'm kind of eyeballing the tomatoes because that looks like enough to me.
You know, I saw recently Rachel Ray. That's the cook lady, right?
Yeah.
She was like, you don't have to be precise with nothing except for when it comes to baking, because baking is a science. But if you're just making a recipe, she said, hell, do your own thing.
Oh.
She said, you want to add a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that, a little less of this, do it.
Do it.
So, hey, we've been doing it right this whole time.
The whole time.
Just ask Rachel Ray.
Thank you, Rachel Ray. So we got this melted.
Oh, you are trying to burn it, ain't you?
I'm going to turn that down just a little bit.
Because this is a ceramic-y pot.
Yes.
We don't know how this thing cooks yet.
No. We don't. This is our first time using it. Y'all, I'm going to use, you want to do 1 cup of rice? Let's do 1 cup of rice because I don't want to overcook it because usually it will
be. You got all these tomatoes, though.
I like tomatoes.
All these onions. Let's do 1.5.
Okay, we'll do 1.5. And this is just some leftover rice I had.
Oh, Well,
that I had at home that I brought.
Because y'all, Jen can't come over today. She's in a different county working. Poor Jen.
She works herself.
We can save some for her, send it to her later.
We can.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh.
All right, let's put our rice in there because we're gonna brown the rice.
We've been doing that a lot recently.
I guess that kind of like kicks the cooking process, maybe. Kickstarts it. Okay, so let's add my 2 onions because we're gonna brown them too. Okay.
Oh, that is a lot of onions.
Mm-hmm. I love onions.
Oh, hell.
I love a good onion.
Getting into? I need to text Grandma Sharon and see if she's heard of this recipe.
Well, I'm gonna tell you now. I bet you Butch and Melissa's heard of this recipe.
Cause like places like Riley's or Sheely's or something, sometimes they got the tomato based, like it's the tomatoey stuff you put on your rice. You know?
The stewed tomatoes.
And you do that sometimes.
I do this. I do. And I like to put sweet and low on top of it, or sugar on top of it, and sweeten it up. Because the restaurants don't sweeten it up, and that's how I like mine. So, but yeah, I do and I'll put the stewed tomatoes on black-eyed peas, lima beans, or what. But see, the thing is y'all don't eat that stuff,
well,
so I don't never have it.
Hell, Noah's getting there too. Onion pasta.
I know. And I bet your grandma and them didn't do this back then. They did not do this step, I bet you.
The browning the rice?
Yes.
That has not been a thing because I literally just heard about that in the past year. 5 years ago, I did not hear nothing about no browning.
Who figured that out? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so I know in the 80s, my mom, when she'd cook rice, browned the rice.
Right.
But yeah, I guarantee you they didn't do that. And they didn't have that 5-minute rice back then either. I know they didn't.
Oh, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do a farm update this weekend.
I'm so tired of my farm.
Oh.
I am so tired of my farm.
Tell us how you really feel.
Right? Like, there is so much work involved in keeping it up.
All right. If you didn't have 20 pigs, then how would you feel about it?
Probably the same because it's not.
It's a lot of land too.
It's a lot of land you got to keep up with. We got limbs down all over the place that we just.
And your yard ain't straight either. It's very hilly.
Very hilly.
So it's hard to cut.
It is, and the birds. Look, they just make a mess wherever they're at.
Y'all should see Mama's car. There's bird poop all over Mama's car.
Turkey poop all over my car because they like to roost on top of my car for some reason.
Right.
And, we're trying to let them free range, which they can fly, so they can fly out the pens if they want to. Yeah. So we try to let them free range, but they just make a mess everywhere. And you got to constantly try to keep it cleaned up. You know what I'm saying? But anyway.
So is it time to start house hunting? Let's just sell the whole property with the animals.
With the animals.
If y'all want the house, y'all can have the animals too for free. Actually, we'll pay you to take the animals.
Like, I would buy a year's worth of feed for you. But don't get me wrong, I love the animals. I do. I mean, they all have their own personalities if you sit there and you watch them and everything. Like, the turkeys are so stinking cute and stuff, and the chickens.
Well, we can fix that real quick this November.
No, we're not. All right.
So, y'all, what's the solution? How do we de-stress Mama?
I don't know.
Maybe you need to hire somebody to come out and feed them.
Every day?
Yeah.
I just need somebody who can come out and keep the property taken care of for me is what I need. I think that would make it a lot easier for me. All right, so I'm thinking that looks really good right now. What you think?
Smells good.
It does smell really good. All right, we're gonna take some chicken broth right here. I'm gonna use 3 cups of chicken broth, okay? Because I
thought you was following a recipe.
Okay, well then.
Just winging this whole...
No, I'm not.
No.
I'm going 4 cups of chicken broth. Okay, let's put that in there.
Okay. Why are you yelling?
That's the whole thing. Now what we want to do is bring this to a boil. And then after it comes to a boil, we want to turn it down and let it simmer. And that's when you're going to jump in and start on the steaks. Okay.
When are we adding the tomatoes?
When this is almost ready, you add it.
You add them near the end? It don't cook with it?
No, we're going to add it almost at the end.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we're going to...
Let's get this whole process going, and then when we come back, y'all, it'll be me on the other side of the camera, And we'll do some cooking some steak.
Yes.
How do I look?
You look good. I got you in the middle.
Do I look at you or the camera? I don't know how to do this.
I usually look at you.
Okay. Are mics on?
Yes, the mics are on. Okay, y'all, bear with us. This is something new that we're trying here. I'm not very good.
I gotta look at the camera. I can't look at you because you're like behind the phone.
I know.
Okay, I'm gonna look at the camera.
You look at the camera. I'll look at you and try to keep you center framed.
Okay.
And
I've done this once before, y'all. Where you remember I cooked that, was it the cabbage or something, or?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't do this often.
And I don't do this often, so y'all bear with us.
Don't be clicking the screen.
I'm not. There's something on it. Let me blow it. It didn't go nowhere. Okay, never mind.
Oh, hell.
Here we go.
Y'all, we got these New York strips from the butcher shop. That's the best butcher in Edgefield County.
It's the only butcher in Edgefield County.
But they're like really good too. Like their prices are really cheap and everything. I do my steaks really simple. I just put some salt on them. Oh, hell, hold on. Let me get the butter going.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. It's the, oh, hell, hold on. Oh, hell.
You got this, baby. You got
I'm nervous. About my nap time is what it is.
Oh, Lord. It's only 20 after 11.
I know. I ain't even ate yet. But I usually get some butter on this pan.
Now, is this the pan you use all the time?
Yeah, I actually do use this one a bit. But it's weird because it's kind of like bubbled in the middle, so it doesn't like lay flat.
Oh, that's interesting.
I think it's just an old pan. That's why it does that.
Where did it come from? Do you remember?
Walmart.
Oh, okay.
Where we get everything else.
Oh, right.
Then I'm just going to add some salt.
Oh, gosh. That's a lot of salt.
No, you really want to salt your steaks is the thing.
Okay.
And you could use whatever seasonings you want, really. But if you use like certain seasonings, or if your pan's too hot or something, it'll like burn your steak. So a lot of people just use salt because it don't burn. Dang, I need to let me use these. You gotta talk to me. You ain't communicating enough.
Oh, you're talking. I don't want to talk over you.
We gotta have a conversation. You ain't.
Okay, so you just salt and
conversing with
pepper
me.
your steak. That's all you do. Nothing else.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Now you said you don't want the pan to. Ooh, are they all fit?
Make them fit.
Those are some pretty steaks. Look at that.
That's what I'm saying. The butcher shop has really good meats.
Oh, now you're gonna season this side. Okay. Yeah. Now, when I was in there picking out the steaks, they had thin ribeyes, they had these medium ribeyes, and then they had thick ribeyes.
Oh yeah, let me show y'all Walmart's ribeyes. Our New York strips. Look how thick these are. Look how thick that is.
Oh gosh.
Those are the ones I usually buy from Walmart.
Why are they? Oh, this is the Angus beef.
They are thick. And like, I make like 2 of these and cut them up, and they'll last me all week. Because I cut them up into like 1-inch pieces. And then I just throw them on like rice. I throw them on salads. I eat them with pickles. Like, I could just eat on them all week.
But I wouldn't. I'd been scorched it to death trying to get the middle done.
Yeah, you gotta. It's a process.
It's the process. Okay. Now, do you keep flipping your steak, or do you cook it so many minutes on one side and then so many minutes on the other side?
I usually flip it like once or twice. Not a lot. Did I put pepper on?
You did?
No,
you didn't. No, you didn't. Let's see. Let's pepper these up.
Did I put pepper on the other side?
I think so.
Oh hell.
And you using that, was that coarse pepper or whatever?
I want my pepper to have a crunch to it.
Oh, gosh.
I love some pepper. Oh, you smell it?
Uh-huh. I smelling it.
Oh, pepper's just like the greatest invention ever. Whoever found pepper, wow.
What sauce do you use on it?
A1.
Oh, so you got some A1?
It depends on what I eat. Like on salads, I'll throw my, this is the best vinaigrette, y'all. This Chick-fil-A zesty apple cider vinaigrette.
Oh.
This is the closest thing I found to the Diablo's vinaigrette.
Nice.
It is so good on rice and salads.
Well, I might have to try that then.
Yeah. And then, but if I'm eating the steak by itself, I'll use A1.
Okay. Now, do you...
Let me kind of correct Josh there and Mama. You do not flip your steaks. You do not move your steaks. You let them cook for so many minutes on one side, then you flip it. You don't flip it twice. And of course, I like a little bit of red meat.
Add extra butter to the steak when you're cooking it.
Yeah, the big steaks in there, they need a lot of butter, but
Yeah.
these probably won't need as much butter.
Right, okay.
They're a lot thinner. Let's see what this other side looks like. See, it's getting there, but these are thin.
Now, I want mine well done now.
You getting medium.
I want medium well then, is what I want.
See, these sides are, it just cooks different wherever you put it on the pan because it's so like lumpy.
Huh.
But,
Okay.
yeah.
We need to get one of those countertop skillets.
And where am I going to put it?
I know. I'm
still working on, I want to have my cabinets. I'm going to keep this door here, but I want cabinets to go down this wall inside the pantry.
Uh-huh.
And maybe cabinets up top too. Just, that will add so much storage space.
Yeah.
So I want to do that eventually.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Do you use both of those pieces of equipment over there?
So this is the sous vide machine. Y'all know we love the sous vide.
Yes.
And then, yeah, I actually used the air fryer last night. Oh. I used it last night.
Okay.
Just to cook up some chicken.
Gotcha. Frozen chicken or fresh chicken?
Frozen.
I guess I need to check my rice over here and see how it's looking.
Oh.
Let's give it a stir.
Oh.
This smells so good just by itself with nothing in it.
Let's just have onion rice. Let me get a plate so we can set them on it.
Yeah, because, like, if you put them on a plate, they'll keep cooking, right?
Yeah, I let them rest for a good 10-15 minutes.
Make
Just let
sure
'em rest.
my steak is done, though.
Mama, it's going to be done.
Okay. I like that pan, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of like, almost like a grill top on the stove. But small.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are you going to try my tomato rice today? You're not?
I get it.
Okay, you got to.
I'm going to try it.
Okay.
I'm going to try it. I'm excited for it. I feel like it's going to be good.
Okay, good.
But I don't want the tomatoes like hard and crunchy. I want them more like stewy.
Yeah, they're going to be
Stewed
stewy.
tomatoes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they are. Well, those are looking pretty, Josh.
Yeah. Ooh, I get a little color on them.
Look at you. I'm taking notes while I'm watching now, okay?
Yeah, you can start cooking steak.
I'm taking some notes. Okay.
So I don't want to hear no dang comments. Josh, when you cooking, why ain't you in the kitchen? Why ain't you cooking?
Josh is cooking.
I'm here. Okay.
You actually have to cook for yourself all the time, especially in the evening.
Especially if you take the leftovers
Right.
from our meals that we make every week.
Right, because I do. And
know.
let me tell you, we did that Mississippi spaghetti the other day, and we didn't know how we quite felt about it. Like, we wasn't happy with it.
I didn't like it.
Look, that evening, I had it for supper. Oh, my gosh.
A lot better?
So much better.
Then why was it just not good when we made it?
I do not know, but when I tell you it was so much better that night, I don't know what it was, but it was wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was not impressed with that at all.
And also that grilled cheese burrito skillet that we did,
Yes.
the Taco Bell thing. I had that last night for supper.
Well, you just ate damn good last night then.
Oh, that was pretty. I want that one. Oh, I don't know. I like that one too. That one's pretty.
I know, this one needs some more color on it over here, don't it? They might be about done. I don't like to check them.
What you
I
mean you
just
don't
wing
like
it.
to check them?
I wing it.
No, you got to cut mine open.
No, we're going to wing it.
Oh, my
They're
God.
done. It's done. Look at that.
Well, when I cut mine open, they better not be no pink in it. I don't like that.
Mix it with your tomato rice, you won't notice.
Oh, well, not notice the difference. That's right.
Let's take these two off.
Okay.
Let's get a little color on this one. Yeah. There we go. Look.
Those are nice. What? Is that a New York strip? The package said New York strip, but they look like ribeyes.
That's a New York strip.
Okay.
And then we can deglaze the pan a little bit.
Uh-huh.
I ain't never done this.
What are you talking about deglaze the pan?
Let's deglaze it. Just try to get all the stuff off of it. Oh, hell.
With butter?
Yeah. And ain't you supposed to use white wine? Deglaze?
I don't even know what you mean by deglazing.
Oh, hell, I don't know either. I was just trying to get this juice and stuff.
Deglaze is what you're doing, not deglossing, which deglossing you use wine for.
And then we're going to pour this right on top of the steak.
What?
This will help with the cooking process.
Do you do that a lot?
Yeah. And then from here, since it's still really hot internally, I just usually like put it in the microwave or leave it on the counter or something to finish cooking and just leave it and let it get like room temperature or so. Just like 10-15 minutes and then it's done.
Okay.
So y'all, here's my steak.
I'm gonna, oh, that
How they look?
good.
They look good.
Those do look good.
I'm excited.
They
I'm
smell,
hungry.
and you just put salt and pepper on them, nothing else.
That's it. And I can eat in 29 minutes. All right, y'all. When we come back,
we're gonna finish up the rice because I got to add the tomatoes and everything.
Boom.
Boom.
Okay, y'all, we're back.
We are back. All right, so Josh got the steaks done. They looking beautiful, smelling so good. So I'm excited about those. We're getting ready to add these tomatoes to the rice and onion. Okay.
You just ain't gonna tell them what you just did.
I am fixing to tell them. Hold on. So anyway, we got the rice halfway done, and what I wanted to do was add some more chicken broth to kind of make sure I had enough water in here for the tomatoes, right?
Right.
So I got some more chicken broth out and I added it in there, and it wasn't until after I was done that I realized
it's the damn spicy.
It's the spicy chicken broth, y'all. Oh my gosh. My fault completely. I was not paying attention.
It might be good.
But it might. It might. It wasn't.
This is spicy stewed tomatoes and rice now.
Well, let's add these tomatoes because they're going to finish cooking with the rice for the last few minutes, okay?
Okay.
So here we go. Let's see if I can get all this in here.
Oh. I've been seeing a bunch of people making fried green tomatoes recently.
Really?
I done seen like 4 or 5 recipes come across my For You page. Even Mississippi Queen made some.
Now, I've had them, but I've, of course, never made them.
Maybe we should make some one day. Y'all send us a good fried green tomato recipe.
You got to have a good batter.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? I like a good, thick, crunchy, crispy batter on mine. All right, let's mix this up.
Mmm.
Oh, yep.
Kid me would be so scared of this. I would not even entertain the idea of trying this.
Well, the thing is back in the day.
Well, you didn't grow up with all the options back in the day.
You did not. Whatever they cooked is what it was. So you learned to like stuff early.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's all there is to that.
Look at this, Noah. Would you try this?
No.
Why?
No.
Look at it. Look. Get closer. Get closer. Get closer. Yeah.
You like rice?
I don't like tomatoes.
You like ketchup?
I don't like tomatoes.
You had that tomato lemonade. You literally had tomato lemonade.
All I had was like a drink.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, instead of drink form, this is eating form.
Look at that. Look how good that looks.
It doesn't look good.
Yes, no, you got to try it.
We're all trying it today.
For 5 Robux. 5 Robux.
I can buy you nothing.
I do not know how much salt.
Y'all, she started out following a recipe. Now she's pulling a Rachel Ray. She's just doing her own thing.
Let's add some pepper. Okay, let's stir this up and see what we got going.
Mmm.
Oh, we're gonna add some more pepper.
Ooh, maybe a little sugar. Somebody, right.
Don't tempt me, because I will.
Well, I saw a recipe this morning. This guy was making, he was making a tomato pasta, and he was making the sauce out of these cherry tomatoes.
Right.
And he added some sugar to the pasta.
Right. Oh, well, I love sweet tomatoes.
Or should we add it on our individual
plates? Let's taste it.
I don't want it crunchy.
The sugar?
Yeah.
It's gonna melt. If it's hot enough, it'll melt.
Okay, let's wait.
Yes, we're gonna wait. All right, let's add some more pepper.
Yeah. Finally, you say it.
You want to be able to see the pepper.
I want to be able to crunch on it. I want to break a tooth on it.
All right, let's see.
Yep.
I'm thinking we need some more. That's
Well, we can
not
add it
enough.
to our own plates too.
Oh, yes, I smell it.
Y'all smell it?
All right.
Y'all smell it?
All right, so now basically what we want to do is just let this thicken up. Okay,
Right.
That's it. All right. So we're going to let this thicken up, and then we're going to come back to it, and then it'll be ready to go, and then we can fix our
Make
plate.
a plate. I don't know how good steak is gonna go with this, but I just figured we need a protein.
Yes.
So I don't, that's the first thing that came to mind.
Well,
But it's gonna be good either way.
I'm sure a good cake of cornbread would go really good with this.
Jiffy.
Some Jiffy.
I
Do
got
we
some
have
Jiffy.
it? Do we have Jiffy?
Don't we?
I don't know. Do we?
I ain't no telling.
These cabinets are empty.
I still gotta. I never clean those out from the rat poop.
Oh, well, you got to do that.
All right, y'all. So when this gets done,
Mhm.
wait, did we give them an estimate? Time?
It says 15 minutes on this.
That's perfect because I can eat in 17 minutes.
Well, there you go.
So,
Talk about timing, okay?
So we'll be back around 10 to 15 minutes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we're back. It's 11:59. I can eat in 1 minute.
Right on time. My gosh. Okay, y'all. So here's our tomatoes and rice.
Ooh.
Now we're gonna go ahead and put this in a bowl. Okay.
Oh, you eat it in a bowl.
Yeah, you eat it in a bowl, or you can eat it on the side of your meal or whatever. But I'm gonna put mine in a bowl. You know what? I might put it on the plate.
Right.
Because that kind of help it cool off a little bit faster.
And then we're gonna have the steak beside it.
Right.
Right.
Let's do that.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
Show us how it's done.
I'm gonna show you.
Kind of looks like a like stewy, like porridgey.
It does. It does. Okay. Now we got this. Now.
Oh.
Here's the thing. The recipe that I'm following, said to put fresh basil on top. I do not know anything about basil. Okay. I'll go ahead and tell you. So I'm just gonna, I guess, chop it up like this.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
Is what I'm gonna do.
Right.
We usually have that dry basil that we use. So I mean, I can smell this. So there we go. We got fresh basil on it. Let's do some more. Yeah, let's go ahead and add a little bit more.
And here's our steak, y'all. It's done cooled down a little bit, done finished cooking while it was in the microwave. Which one you want?
I'm gonna go with this one.
Oh, damn it.
Is that the one you wanted? I'm sorry. You can have this plate.
So y'all, here is Mama's plate. This looks like something you would get at a restaurant. Like a southern restaurant or something. Should we open up a restaurant? No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm kidding, y'all. So let me make my plate and then I'm gonna set y'all up.
And we're gonna try it.
So y'all, here's our plate. We got our steak all cut up and everything. This kind of looking like cheese grits.
Well, it ain't. Okay.
I bet it ain't gonna taste like it either.
No. I'm going in with the rice and tomatoes first, just to see if I need any more salt and pepper or anything like that. Okay. Yeah. Make sure you get some basil on it.
I got a little bit of everything.
Okay.
It's hot. This new ceramic, whatever it is we got, that thing heats up fast.
It ain't no joke, y'all. It ain't. And I think these are more made for like soups and stuff, not like actual cooking kind of a thing.
Right.
But yeah.
That's good. Oh.
Hold on now.
Got a kick.
You got a kick?
Yours got a kick?
Not yet. Not yet.
It's like hitting at the back of my throat.
From the spices?
I don't know what it is. Did you buy spicy tomatoes?
It might be the spicy chicken broth, maybe? I don't know. I don't get it. Okay.
That's good.
This is really good just like it is.
This is so southern.
It
so
does.
like homey southerny.
It's not grandma's. It's not granny's.
That's good though.
But it's still good.
What's different about this one?
I'm looking for more of a tomato flavor. You know what I'm saying?
Because I don't get a lot of tomato in this.
What was that?
Is there a bug on the floor?
I'm looking for more tomatoey flavor. You know what I'm saying?
Like more chunks of tomato or more tomato like Do you think adding a tomato paste to get you there, or tomato sauce?
Maybe the tomato sauce might get me there. I'm thinking. But I mean, this is good like it is. Don't get me wrong. This is really good like it is. The basil.
Phenomenal.
It does add an extra bit to it.
I love the basil on it.
Oh, that steak is good.
Is it good?
And it's tender. It's not tough.
No. I might throw a little A1 on mine, but.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I don't like to order steak in restaurants because you never know what you're going to get. You know what I'm saying? And they all cook it different. But if you're cooking it at home and you're cooking it pretty much the same way every time, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
This is a good steak. I'm just saying.
Thank you, Mama. And this is a good tomato rice.
Well, thank you.
Hell, I'm with you though. Add some more tomatoes. Tomato it up. Add about 10.
I like the texture of it.
The recipe called for 2 pounds of tomatoes, people.
The way it cooked up.
And I get a little hint of the onions. Taste the 2-by-day onions. There's a tiny kick, but it's going down a little bit. I think I'm getting used to it now.
Oh.
Oh, what? Oh, what? Oh. It's kicking you?
No.
Oh.
I bet you let this sit.
And this is stuff you throw in a jar it up. Right.
I'll take this home and eat it for supper tonight.
I think we killed this.
I do too, because
it's good.
It's homey.
Right, it's very homey.
Very homey.
And that chicken broth makes this recipe. You could taste the chicken broth in this rice. It's so good.
Yeah. And it just brings back like a lot of memories from when I was little. It's all, even though it's not the same, because nothing's never the same.
You know what memories Mama made me when I was little? Driving through the McDonald's drive-thru. That was my, this is so homey moment. Just pulling up the McDonald's.
Listen, you used to eat raviolis and beefaroni out the can, cinnamon rolls out the yin-yang,
frozen pizzas, fish sticks.
But yeah, I can never, ever top Grandma and Granny's cooking, ever.
They probably had better quality ingredients too. The rice was probably a lot better. The tomatoes were probably hand-picked or hand-grown. Like their ingredients, they had a lot better, fresher ingredients back then.
They did. Homegrown stuff, you know.
It's really hard to replicate that.
It is. But y'all, this is really good. Let us know how you make yours. I mean, because I know everybody makes it different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think for the first time me making this, it turned out really good.
I would eat this again. I would make it again. It's that good.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to finish eating my lunch. I know Josh is going to finish his lunch. So we hope y'all have a good day and we'll see y'all later, okay?
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Okay, y'all, I'm going to get off here. You guys have a fantastic rest of your evening. We went 3 hours and 17 minutes, which I hadn't planned on doing. Love you all. Catch you later. Bye.